ready for primetime players.
I know, I know. Why is this all sliced all fuck? Oh, flippin'.
Son of a...
Well, no, what it is that Zoom, I didn't even notice this until just now. Zoom has added this whole apps thing, and it's its own sidebar for where all the apps sit. And it shifted all the little Zoom windowies over.
Ugh.
Son of a gun. Oh, it's gonna look gross. And now it's already live and people are seeing it and it looks gross. And I didn't know it was gonna be gross. I would have fixed it. Alright, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Hi everybody. Yes, we're live. We're lamenting life while we're here. Let's see if I can close. Oh, haha! I closed the dock and now it's fine. Cool. Okay, so stupid technical things aside, because Zoom is a perfectly flawless software that I don't pay out the nose for. Let's catch up on where things are at in life. We've missed you. The last two episodes of Naturally One are currently sitting in YouTube jail, I want to say. They're not necessarily jail, purgatory, the waiting room at the prison. The music that's been involved in the last couple of sessions, the music I was playing right before now, is from a different studio than the music I did the first few episodes with, and so they have to clear my license to use it, so that I don't get, you know, slapped on the wrist even more than I already do. So they're currently sitting in limbo, and hopefully will clear in the next few days, and then when they do, it should clear me for the rest of these going forward. So that's that with those. I tried to do the right thing and get them actually up before today's episode, but instead, they ended up in YouTube jail. So, besides YouTube jail, have to reach out to the guy who said he would work on the podcast, because he said he would, and then he disappeared. So, I will be trying to get some more momentum on that. I hope you guys saw the post in the Discord just about stuff and things that are upcoming for the year of 2023. Scarily enough, this is the second D&D stream in a row. Fingers crossed it keeps going that way. And then the other thing is, it's also the second stream of the year. Like we're off to an okay start for 2023. But there's some stuff in the Discord. Catch up on, you know, just some of the games, some of the ideas, some of the stuff that's going on, coming in the future. And of course, that's where most of the updates for everyday life and things are posted. So please keep an eye out there. And yeah, do you guys have any life updates before I get into D&D updates that you guys care to share, or is it all just time to move on to the dice rolly portion of this next few hours?
I'm in for rolling some dice.
We got
Let's
some
roll,
dice
Dan, let's
rolls,
roll.
dice rolls. All right. So, where we last left off, our party of 5 first met in the city of Golden Spires. Each there for their own reasons. There were some terrorist activities that caused some buildings to explode, and instead of fleeing like the average citizen or half the city guards, our motley crew came together in this time to help those that they could and start to investigate what may or may not have gone on. In doing so, they nearly got themselves arrested and sent to prison before striking up a deal with a rather persnickety captain of the guard. After starting to head off and do some exploration and adventuring, Theo had also decided to join the Adventuring Guild, and accepted some quests that took him in the same direction as the rest of the investigation that the party was going to proceed on. On their way out, they accidentally were witness to, and in the same location of, a massive train derailment and an explosion. After helping out with some of the retrieval of wounded persons and questionable interactions with some of the guards, they were brought back to the city of Golden Spires for further questioning, yet again narrowly escaping confinement. They struck another deal. This particular deal had them go further west once more in search of the terrorist group that may or may not have been behind both attacks against the city. After a several days' journey, overnight on a cart moving at breakneck speeds and otherwise rather uncomfortable, the party made their way deep underground to the mining city that was developed beneath the mountains. There's a giant foundry, there are barracks, there are loading stocks and loading stations, and an intricate network of trains and carts that they were exposed to and got to explore very briefly before interacting with a rather interesting character. A changeling who looked very similar to a person they had witnessed running and escaping from one of the attacks in the city. A well-placed or well-thrown rock by Renningham knocked this perpetrator out cold. The party took them to the barracks, holed up inside for what was hopefully going to be a night's sleep before a busy day questioning, when the party awoke to find Chlor and the prisoner missing. The party then began what has been a several-day mission to find and retrieve their lost, stolen, kidnapped, perhaps, compatriot. And in doing so managed to explore some sewage lines, some industrial zones, and then some rather treacherous underground tunneling. Towards the late end of their adventures, they finally found a section of tunnel that seemed to have some interesting nature to it. Unbeknownst to them, Chlor, having escaped on his own from his predicament, was on the other end of said tunnel. And Renningham, out of curiosity, took a sample of viscous material that he had found on the floor of the tunnel in the cave, and learned that it was flammable, and decided to see what happens if he lit up that part of the tunnel. Chaos ensued, and the party was chased by an ever-increasing fireball of death and pain and misery, narrowly reaching the mushroom grotto that had once provided them refuge deep underground. Upon reaching their destination, tired, burnt, having freshly retrieved a wounded Chlor, the party looked back and discovered one of their group was missing. It seemed in all of the chaos and fervor of the moment that Theo had fallen behind. And after some investigation and no small effort on Bob's part, what was left of Theo was retrieved and brought back to the party. And that is exactly where we left off.
We've yet to have a funeral.
We've yet to have much more than a near come to blows where you, Bob, came and sat down in between
Stood.
Renningham and Chlor. Sorry, stood in
hold.
between Renningham. Yep.
And got hit with an eldritch blast. Thank you very much.
That is also true.
On the way.
Penn had some very choice words for Renningham.
I have said nothing.
I said Penn. I didn't say Bob. I said Penn.
Okay, just clarifying.
And has since kind of stormed off, leaving the 3 remaining party members just kind of in their standoff.
Well, I think we can all agree that was an accident. And the curiosity may have gotten the better of me, but it would have gotten anyone. I'm just glad we found Chlor.
At what cost, you idiot?
I mean, cost, I prefer not to think of it as a price paid. Because we didn't get anything in return.
Savage. That was savage.
I mean, he's bringing up. He's the one bringing up the cost. Like I didn't.
I mean,
we lost something. You know what I mean? Like we didn't. There wasn't an exchange. It was a loss. We did to the detriment of the squad. We lost something.
Oh, who's this?
There's a great big debit on the accounting here.
That's why I'm bad at math.
They say,
That's why we play a game that involves rolling dice.
Lots of numbers and math. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Renningham wasn't training to be a politician or anything. They don't need to know numbers.
It's a cost I'll take a full accounting for. Believe me, it's already taken a slight toll. I do miss Theo.
He literally just died.
Wait, it's literally been like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how there's already discussion over we haven't had a funeral and I already miss him. Dude, it just happened.
I mean, a funeral. Is there? How much did Bob? I guess he soft mouthed it. Right. Although, okay.
I'm assuming that we got 90% of the corpse.
Have you ever left tater tots in a deep fryer for too long?
Yes, actually.
And how they get real crumbly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How soft can you really mouth that?
Are you implying that maybe a leg fell off during the run back?
I don't know. Let's look over.
I'm gonna mute myself.
In saying that I miss Theo, I look over to the corpse, and is it an intact corpse?
Roll me a medicine check, heal check, whatever. I am gonna make you roll for it.
Oh, my stupid cats. Hold on.
There you are.
Oh, first dice roll of the night, trying to have him assess,
Okay.
the condition of the
medicine check.
And the viewers, I laugh really easily, and for some reason, this mental image is killing.
12.
From where you're standing looking back, you can see that Theo appears to be mostly intact. Yeah, rather stiff. For you as a player, it's not fully rigor mortisy, but definitely the crispy stiff, not the rigor mortisy stiff. The digits on the hands don't appear to be entirely there. A little one of his ears is kind of missing, but it's definitely humanoid in shape. The limbs are
Who's not
intact.
gonna miss an ear?
Can we use the descriptor chicken fried PC?
Deep fried. Oh.
Can I sense any lingering essence, like a soul, or like a spirit?
Oh, okay. You want to do something a little spooky-ooky.
I hold up that skull and I kind of look it in the eyes and I look kind of past it at Theo's body.
So mind you, this is the first time the rest of the party has seen
I thought they saw me that was I was like muttering to it or something at one point.
Only
well, yeah,
Penn.
but we have
Only
no idea.
Penn saw that, and then the only other person who saw it was Theo, who knew something was up with it. That was during a night's watch.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna take. So
So
I'm gonna like take the skull and like I'm gonna lean, I'm gonna kind of huddle over Theo's head, and not like touch them to each other, but like kind of hold both of them close and like whisper at the skull and be like, "Is there anything left? Can she be saved? Can they be saved?"
whoa! What the hell are you doing? Get away from him.
I'm investigating. Did anyone check a pulse? Where's Penn? Do we have a registered nurse?
Oh,
This is my first time seeing Theo's body too. Yeah.
Penn just looks over.
grab him and pull him away because that's not okay to do to my friend.
Penn just looking over as you called out for him, like, he's dead, you idiot. Speaking of
Did I,
Penn, they're here.
Did I sense any?
Roll me a charisma check.
Just a flat one.
Yep, just flat charisma check.
That is another 12. Interesting.
You do not sense anything. Nothing reaches out. If you reach out with your mind, nothing reaches back. The familiar message received in regards to your the husk skull that remains, but you don't get any of that sense back from Theo.
Well, I was just checking to make sure that his soul was at rest and had passed on. What have you been doing?
I fire another Eldritch Blast.
Like at him?
Like directly at him. He's right next to me. He's
No,
pissing
I'm
me off.
between the two of you. You're going to shoot me again?
No, he just walked over to Theo to see to do something.
I'm sorry. I thought the intention was to stay between you two to prevent eldritch blasts and things of that nature.
Roll a dexterity saving throw, Bob, just to see if you can quickly like, oh wait, huh? And make sure you're
do the whole hand grab the wrist and like deflect the blast.
Hang on. I'm arguing with the software here.
Is it fighting with you? Does it not want you to roll the dice?
There we go.
What's your total? What you got?
21.
Okay. Yeah. Chlor, roll to attack. Um
7.
7 does not hit Bob's AC. So your shot goes wide.
I said get away from him.
All right. I'll back up.
Real
Just trying
quick
to help.
point of order. Bob has only got somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 minutes of wild shape left. So we kind of need to keep track of that because he's going to be reverting back to his original form real shortly.
Okay. Duly noted.
Thank you.
And we're back in the mushroom room, right?
Yes. So
In my
that's
notes,
actually something.
I just labeled that as the mushroom.
Yeah,
by the way.
I was gonna say
Capitalized on the ROOM.
I just realized we haven't actually described what this room looks like for Chlor. So, Chlor, this area has strangely soft, silty sand as like the ground beneath your feet. The walls themselves are a very dark stone. However, in the center of this round-shaped room is a pocket, a circular pocket of large glowing mushrooms that have grown to be several feet tall. some of them are like pink and yellow, and other ones are turquoise and purple, and there's just a soft glow of neon like colors from these mushrooms that create a bright light when you're next to them, but a dim light filling out the rest of the room. Enough where you can kind of make out details and not struggle too much if you were to try to read, but dark enough that, some level of focus is required for fine tasks.
I eat one. Just kidding. Who would be so dumb to do that?
Pen's not here.
Pen just kind of glances over at you, pulls out a piece of them, and pops it into the mouth.
Breaks it in half, rubs its gills on her gums.
Speaking of Pen, they are still on my end connecting to audio. Is that what you guys see?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too.
Yes.
All right, we'll see if they get dropped out and pop back in or anything. So that's the area that you're in. There's also some faint glowing lichen kind of growing up along the walls, and a large patch of it is centered over these mushrooms, and that also emanates a dull glow.
So we're back in the room, and as Chlor pushes me away from the body, I'm all right, I'm fine, I'm sorry, and I turn away, and I still kind of have the skull kind of not cradled, but kind of like close to the chest, and I just walk away, murmuring to it and being like, well, now what do I do? Where do we go? What's the direction? Which hall did you come down again? And I'm trying to find out, because the where we fought that husk was down one of the hallways off of the mush room.
Yeah.
As he's walking away talking, I want to. Is there a semblance of facial, like, does Theo still have like a face?
Yes.
Okay, I pull
Oh.
like I pull Theo, whatever the burnt remnants of his clothes are, pull over his face to like cover, you know what I mean? Like cover the body and like be respectful. And then DM, I'd like to
without plastic,
without anybody trying to hide it, go through Theo's pockets and things and see, what Theo has on his person that might be useful to myself.
Roll me a sleight of hand check with disadvantage, considering you are literally trying to rummage through the pockets of the focus of the room right now.
I said I wouldn't try to hide it.
I am trying to hide it.
Oh.
I would like to say that Bob is a dog, Penn walked away, and Rinningham is muttering to a skull.
Okay, so that leaves
Bob. You didn't see
that leaves Bob, who's
DM,
sole purpose right now.
Natural one, so
okay.
So
that'll
a loud ripping noise as Theo's leg falls off.
Exactly. There's like a dry crumbling noise, and then whoops.
Oh my gosh, we have a pen.
Arm.
Oh.
Hey.
Oh.
Well, I guess it's fairly obvious what I'm doing right now, but either way, I will continue.
So you guys can hear the crinkling of the burnt and charred clothing that's left on Theo, and it might even be, as you go through, like, you knew he wore leathery type armor, but there's some areas where it's hard to determine which is the armor and which is his skin. And you just kind of rummage around through Theo's accoutrements.
It's like when you get a really old Now and Later, and you try and peel the paper off the Now and Later, but it sticks to the Now and Later, and you just kind of throw the whole thing in your mouth and like it'll work out.
It'll figure itself out.
So of Theo's belongings that weren't
totally
burned to a crisp, you find a hand axe that is still fairly usable. And that is literally it. There's a mess kit that is kind of like crunched. There are things that you knew were probably some sort of food rations that have been now well overcooked. There's random chunks of burnt rope, burnt up bedroll.
No
The
monies.
bowstring
You mean the
gave.
meat's cooked so well your uncle would eat it?
That's inside joke here. My uncle, his preferred way of cooking steak is well done,
You
like a heathen.
Why?
Yeah, because I don't know. It doesn't. I
don't
can't.
know.
There's certain things in life I really do try to understand and just still cannot wrap my mind around, and that is one of them. Is who can eat leather like that, and when they're not starving to death. Like I can understand if it's the only food you have, but it's but anyway,
So no money.
Money is burned.
I mean, I
we're
don't know
going
how
to
how that's
we're
I don't think
going
it got that high. Gold has a pretty high melting point.
Yeah, and looking at the inventory, did we get paid by someone for something?
No, but someone and I. No, Renningham and I looted someone.
Okay.
You
And we split
stole
the
from a
money.
bunch of refugees.
That's
Yeah, that was it. We stole.
we didn't it wasn't stealing, it was
You
reallocating.
stole.
as
It
you
was
rummage.
take from the rich and give to the needy, and I was needy and they were rich in the moment.
As you rummage
We're
through
literally
Theo's
refugees.
belongings, you find a damaged coin pouch. And the coin pouch has 57 gold in it. 4 silver and 5 copper.
I take it. Let me write that down.
Literally the only thing we track in the game is our money.
No, I also took the hand axe. So you said 57 gold, 4 silver.
4 silver and 5 copper.
May I just say that I find this hella funny because Theo's out here like, I'm working to raise money for my family. As soon as he dies, his party's like, how much money does he have on him?
Yeah.
What movie is
game.
it where it's
I've
like
had
we'll
zero
take
money the entire time. So
Tropic Thunder? Where
Yeah.
they're like,
Yes.
we're gonna take the
Yes.
money and build a school.
Yeah.
Gonna dedicate it.
The Theo Bayless Academy for kids who need to learn how to read better. Special class.
What is this? A school for ants? It needs to be at least 4 times bigger.
At least.
Gosh.
With one special class on social awareness, specifically designed to avoid people being gullible AF.
Oh, Theo. So that's what you find on Theo's person. It was crispy.
I feel crispy.
Did I get any pull from the skull?
Oh, that's right. You were walking towards the hallway. You're trying to find it.
Yeah.
So let me just double check, circle back to what you were taking the skull and trying to use it to find the pathway that you guys had went down that you found him on.
Yeah, I was just kind of muttering to it, trying to figure out where it came from. Where do we go now? I mean, Theo's dead. What do we do? What happens now? Is there a way?
Oh, so you're trying to like a clairvoyancy type moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost like if I had some guidance or clairvoyance.
Okay. Wait,
those are separate things, right?
Yes, clairvoyance is separate. Guidance is usually like a spiritual or kind of guiding hand that facilitates an action. You are kind of sort of more reaching out into the ether for a sense of direction.
Mhm.
Let's see. Are there any of these other abilities that might work?
Ooh.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your abilities that you got after you chose your bardic
Uh-huh.
college, and I'm not seeing anything that stands out for you at this particular moment. I don't see it. Basically, I don't see a Tale from the Beyond if you were going to try to use one of those.
That's yeah. I was just reading through those.
So just so that the you guys all know, the bardic college that was chosen was the College of Spirits. And so there are
Which
some
I feel
really
like
cool
just kind of
abilities.
came naturally based on when I got the level and where we were.
Yep.
There was an influence that kind of
So
guided my...
give me an insight check, but you're going to burn one of your bardic inspirations to do this. How's that?
Okay. And I'm also exhausted, right? So I make it with disadvantage.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes.
So I'm burning a bardic inspiration. I'm doing an insight check at disadvantage. Okay, well that's a 3. No, 5. See if I can roll lower. I can't.
You try to reach out, and instead of any sort of clear sense of a direction, if anything, you feel a cacophony of thoughts and emotions and sounds. It's so much noise. It's all chittering, chirping, squelching, indiscernible background noise. And you can't seem to get anything of value out of it as you try to feel for what's going on around you. However, you do notice that the skull's eyes, just for a second, kind of like seem to brighten, and then the noises in your head all stop as its eyes go dark.
And did that? Which tunnel was I closest to? I just one of them. Just a tunnel.
Yeah, just a tunnel.
It's not the one. What I remember, the one we came in. So I remember us coming in from a tunnel. We went down one, fought the husk, came back out, went down another one.
So you guys have marked all of the tunnels so far that you've done. You've marked the tunnels that you came in with. You marked the tunnel that you found the husk skull. Okay. And then you went down the third tunnel. I don't know if you marked that one, but of the 3 you've done so far, you would know which ones they were. Okay,
so I'm just gonna, as I'm holding the skull and as I'm walking, and I'm muttering to it, I just kind of go, no, that's enough. I got it. I know. Okay. And I just start walking, and I kind of slowly walk down the tunnel. Not like I'm trying to leave the party, but like I'm just exploring a little bit further down the tunnel that we found the husk in.
Okay. So before we continue on with Rinningham, anyone else? What are you guys up to? Chlor was looting. Bob.
You could call it grave robbing. That's fine.
There's no grave yet.
What was Rinningham's response?
I think we can all agree that this was an accident. I miss Theo.
That's great. That's lovely.
And then an insult. The best part was that he was just like, there was more a trade than a loss.
I said at what cost, and like we didn't. It wasn't really a purchase. We didn't get anything from it.
Yeah, exactly. It was delightful.
It was definitely
Doug and I
not one
had
of-
the same
I tried to shoot him
reaction. We
again.
both immediately were just like, oh.
You tried
That
to
was a
shoot
hell.
him?
Yeah, with
an
another Eldritch Blast.
I
Yeah.
did it again.
Yeah, Runningham's not used to being the one at fault and not being able to shift the blame immediately away. So he not as one of his brightest moments.
And you're the only interaction you've really had so far is Rittingham went to go and inspect Theo and was like, "Did anyone check for a pulse or anything?" And you just kind of like stare, daggers, and we're like, "He's dead." Like you just kind of deadpanned it. Like, other than that, you've just been kind of quiet off to yourself, brooding over the situation there, Penn.
He's accurate.
And Bob has been
Wait,
diligently
wait,
keeping.
Penn wants to do something.
What does Penn want to do?
Penn wants to awkwardly kind of. He's not awkwardly walking, but he's gonna walk kind of over towards Clore, who's looting Theo.
I was not looting.
Penn's gonna consider it looting, but not say anything.
Fair.
Penn's gonna go up and like with an awkward amount of distance, he's gonna like reach out his hand and like do the awkward pat, 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 pat. I'm very sorry about
Locked
this.
elbow.
And then he's
bedside
gonna like
manner.
pull his arm back and kind of like wander back towards kind of where he was. Just I'm very sorry about the loss of your friend. And just kind of walks away.
It's a social convention. You must do it.
Yes.
And
That's about the only reason Penn does it.
Clore will very deliberately not answer.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Bob has otherwise been keeping his time in between Clore and Rittingham to help keep some of the peace. You're down
Just
to your final
waiting-
few
we're
seconds
waiting
of,
for the
of-
adrenaline to run down.
You're in your last few moments of direwolf form, so if there's anything else you want to do while still in pupper mode, now's your chance.
No, just keeping them separated. You know, it's like an NBA game. Nope, you can't go fight them yet. Nope.
Gotta keep them separated.
There you go.
Hey, you're talking about to me.
Don't you know you gotta keep them separated? Okay, so you transform back into your ASMR self. You lose your keen senses of smell and sight, or keen hearing. That's what it is. It's smell and hearing.
Go in here and yes.
Yeah. And you are just back in the grotto with everyone else, as I guess in this case, Rittingham starts to not really secretly necessarily, but quietly muttering to himself, wander away from the group for a bit. Rittingham, you find yourself in the tunnel again, where there's lichen climbing on the ceiling and walls, the soft, silty ground beneath you. Easy to miss why this tunnel exists with the way that the lichen kind of makes the walls look a little bit funky from different angles, but if you hadn't marked it, you still would have eventually found it. Just, definitely easier this way. What are you trying to do as you head down this hallway?
So I'm still holding the skull. I'm not really talking to it, but if I move it closer to the lichen and like press it up against the lichen, is there a stronger response than if I just press it with my hand? If I just touch the lichen with my hand, because I remember done it like boom, 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 boom. Whenever you
when you touch the lichen, you kind of see it ripple a little bit across. It's really the steps that you make. You can kind of see where sometimes they pulse a little bit down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
However, as you move the skull towards the lichen, it brightens up before it even touches.
So I'm
Um,
gonna be using that. Is it lighter on the ground or on the wall, or how high is the ceiling?
more like the lichen on the wall is what's reacting, not so much the skull.
Right. But I'm saying, does the lichen brighter on the ground, on the wall, or on the ceiling? Or can I even see the ceiling?
I mean, you can see the ceiling, you just can't reach the ceiling.
Okay.
And as you put it to the ground, it still has like a silt material on the ground, so it's really just the
That's
walls
right.
that you can see the reaction to.
Okay. And how much light is it? Is it enough light to like see walking wise?
Yeah, it's a dim light. It's a
Mm-hmm.
consistent dim light. You'd have to really focus to read, but you would be able to. It's not,
Yeah. But I can use it as a almost not as a light source, but I can use it to kind of lead my way further down the tunnel without having to light a torch. Because now
Correct,
I'm
you
kind
can
of
use-
scared of fire.
Well, you
Or
also don't
wary.
have a lantern anymore.
Right, but I'm also wary of fire.
Yes.
Why ever would you be wearing a fire?
We could turn him into a piggyback again. Koala pack.
So yeah, there's enough light in the hallway. When you guys first had walked down this hallway, you didn't have torches. You just used the glowing light from the lichen.
And what's the light source back in the mushroom?
It's the larger mushrooms and the lichen on the
Okay.
ceiling kind of emanating.
And it's enough to see, like I can still see the mushroom.
Yeah,
As I'm
it's
going
slightly
down,
brighter
okay.
that direction. Not by much, but it's slightly brighter. And you can always use the floor. It's not like the floor is all weird looking. You can just always use the ground. As long as you know which direction you came from, you haven't seen any branching nature to this
Right.
tunnel.
I'd like to cast Mage Hand, and you again, much like the torch, carry the skull close to the wall, kind of leading the way down this tunnel.
Okay. Is the skull facing you or is it facing away from you?
It's facing away from me.
Okay. And do you do the same thing like you did with the lantern where you're kind of moving it around, or are you just kind of keeping it dead center?
Kind of keeping it dead center, sometimes going up, sometimes going a little lower. I'm not like, there's no real pattern to it.
Okay.
Because I don't hear or see or think there's anything that's, there's no holes in the walls. It's all covered in lichen, so. I might
So
move it up as I'm walking down to see if the lichen goes all the way to the ceiling, or
Yeah. So as you walk down this hallway, your steps being as small as you are not as prominent when it comes to creating the ripples, but they do have a pulse to it that seems to roughly match your walk. They don't go very far down the hallway either. It was the larger folk, or when you jumped those few times, that it really stood out as a ripple. The one major difference now is, as you carry the husk skull with you, is that there kind of seems to be a gentle band that you can kind of see roughly in plane of where this is moving in front of you, that just of lichen that is slightly brighter, similar to when you touch it. Not as bright as when you touch it, but it has the similar effect of, in the proximity as you've moved it, you can see like the reaction kind of moves with the skull.
DM, before Rinningham gets too far, I'd like to note that Clore gets up after a few seconds and just silently follows Rinningham. Like, not aggressively, like just.
Are you being intentionally stealthy, or are you just being
Oh no, I'm
not
just
saying
following.
anything?
Yeah, I'm just like not saying anything, following him, as if like everyone can see I'm not sneaking. I'm just following.
Okay. So Clore is starting to go follow after Rinningham. Does anyone
Like,
else?
almost like sulking, like head down, like not like I'm like Clore's giving off the over trying to hurt Rinningham. He is now just following in that direction.
Bob, I guess that falls onto you. If you were intentionally trying to keep your way in between the two, how do you read the situation of Lore getting up to start following Rindingham.
Is it obvious that he is moving to follow or stalk?
There's no stalk. I mean, if you want to roll insight, he's literally just following, like walking, no ambition, no hustle, no goals. I'm just
As a means to get from one place to another.
yes, Rinningham looks like the only person in this that actually has a plan, and although he just murdered my only friend, I'd like to get out of these tunnels. So I am now
Okay, I
moving
think
in
the
that
insight
direction.
is a good idea because I got hit with an eldritch blast. I'm going to be suspicious.
Yes, roll an insight check, because that will definitely flavor your thoughts on the
All right,
situation.
21.
Okay. That's Clor, give me a
What lurks within
wisdom.
that dark heart of yours?
Give me
I
a
mean-
wisdom saving throw, Clor.
Okay, I mean, honestly, I'm telling the truth, so I don't know.
I know, but I'm trying to mechanically, if we're gonna, we have a character who wants to do an insight check, we're gonna mechanically add a little bit of flavor to this.
All right, 12.
Okay. Bob, everything seems above board. Clor definitely seems to be tired, burnt out, emotionally spent, and just is.
Okay, in that
Don't-
case,
Also, my speed is halved, so I'm like very much moving slowly in the direction of Rinningham.
Oh, that is true. You are 2 levels of exhaustion. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I couldn't even chase him down if I wanted to right now. So you
okay,
just
so
see Clor just hunched over, like completely wiped out, exhausted, just blindly following the only person who's moving any direction.
at this
If you
point,
were angry, just imagine how funny that would be, though. Like a menacing aura from behind, and you look and it's like it follows, but far less scary.
now in this case,
Hey,
I'm
I'm
just going-
scary.
I'm going to go with the insight check and jump to the conclusion that everything is back down to something vaguely resembling a normal / rational level. And I'm just going to let him go. And it's time to let nature take its course. The balance shall be.
Then I fire an Eldritch Blast. No, I'm just kidding.
Son of a bitch.
I'm just kidding.
The long con.
DM looks like we're having a TPK anyway.
All right. Guess what? Rocks fall, party dies.
Dart over.
Congratulations, everyone.
A giant worm
Just-
falls from
just
above
rocks.
and crushes
Just
you
the
all.
rocks
Roll a
fall.
dexterity
Which
saving
ones?
throw.
I don't know. Just them. The rocks.
All of you have to build new characters that can reasonably
It would
be
like one of
considered
it'd be
minors.
a vengeful pill bug that would be like coming out, and it was so incessant with rage it spontaneously combusted and reignited the fire.
I don't know if I could play a small child.
Anyway, you all watch as Theo's body begins to move and pillbugs begin to spill out from every orifice. No.
Ooh.
Carrying
ooh.
crawlers.
I'm
Oh
in.
no.
No. Pen, you're and Bob, you guys are kind of left in the mushroom grotto currently.
Oh,
Is there any?
should we? I suppose we should keep going.
I'm sorry. I was reading for a moment and I lost touch with what was going on. Run that by me again, please.
We should probably follow the other two.
You think so? We could do that.
At the very least, if another ends up dead, we can loot that one.
Yeah. All right, let's hang back and just kind of incognito. Not-
We subtly start following behind Clor, who's
Yeah.
following Rinningham.
Not we're not let's not like make it obvious and if they turn around and spot us, be like, hey guys, but just give them their space. let's do that.
Casually observing and following.
Yeah,
Keeping
just
them
kind of.
within eyes distance.
Yeah, just kind of.
Within eyes, just say within sight. Wait.
I don't know. I like the term eyes
I
distance.
couldn't think of the word sight.
within
That
the
was the
distance.
fastest thing I could think of.
Within
Y'all
the
ever get
distance of the
water hungry?
eyes.
I'm also imagining
No.
Bob and Penn purposefully having to slow themselves down because this half moving so slow just to keep
Exactly.
Chlor within
one of those where it's like-
eyesight.
Take a step.
Pause for a second.
And Renningham
Gosh,
just
have you
has
seen that? You know,
short
gosh, that
steps.
particular piece of lichen there. That's kind of fuzzy one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, in a rush to get places, I didn't really notice the unique architecture of this particular cavern. Is that basalt?
Wait. Is everyone within like shouting distance if I were to yell?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're not super far away. I could just I don't want to scream. I just want to raise my voice here for a second. Fellas, we came down here initially to find Chlor, and we have. Does anybody remember what we're doing now?
I thought we were leaving. I thought we were leaving. Get me out of here. Says
Renningham
Chlor.
doesn't really turn around to pay attention. He's still just kind of muttering as he's walking along. It was all an accident. You know it was an accident. It was just there was fire, and I just kept walking. And I'm kind of like almost talking to the wall now, talking to the lichen, following the skull as it's floating down the hall.
All right, Penn shrugs and goes, "Well, okay," and
I'm
continues.
kind of lost in space here. I'm just like, I'm caught up in the moment. Yeah.
We're all
Penn's
pretty.
just gonna carefully drag Bob along gently.
So, Ridingham, you're in front as the party slowly follows behind you. Chlor, you're about 40, 45 feet behind him. And the distance kind of continues to grow slowly because Rinningham's not necessarily going at a full like 30 feet per round type level of movement, but it's a faster pace than you can really keep up with in your current state. You can kind of see the lichen reacting to his steps and to his motion, and you see it reacting to yours as well. This is the first time you've witnessed where every step creates a ripple that kind of permeates up along the walls and just kind of like bounces down. And then from behind you, you see some pulses that move forward as well, as Bob and Penn slowly come up the rear. Rinningham, you don't immediately notice it, but after a little while of focusing further down, you also begin to see every so often, a ripple come from behind you, just kind of like along the walls, along the ceiling. Before you come across a particular section of wall that has a protrusion, a small kind of lump that looks very familiar. And you notice that the lichen in this section is still the green, the soft green. And crouching down, you can kind of make out that you have reached the point in the tunnel where you fought the husk the first time, originally. Except now there appears to be more lichen and things kind of growing around it. And while the husk itself is slightly dimmer, it's also slightly less uniform. It's no longer the distinctly humanoid shape. Pieces of it seem to have kind of melded to itself or melded together, and it's slightly smaller as whatever processes are taking place do so.
Mm-hmm.
But what was once a yellow section of the tunnel that reacted negatively to your presence is now green.
So I look down and recognizing where the origin of the skull that I've been following now. I just kind of keep walking past, and um, I walk past and I look and I notice that the pulse is coming from behind me, and I know that the party is following me at least. And so I just knowing that like I can't really turn back and say anything to him that would make sense right now. Because we kind of just left Theo. I'm just gonna keep walking.
Okay.
And yeah.
Does anyone else do anything other than just following Theo at this moment? As you guys slowly come up to the husk as well. Dave, you're muted.
There's nothing that he can do that I can do. I'm tapped of everything. I'm just walking, following, hoping that we're leading out and having no idea of what everyone's goals are right now. Just get me out.
Okay.
The stalk continues.
You're further behind. You're slow. Rinningham is getting further ahead of you. Every short while, but eventually you catch up to where there's this kind of headless humanoid mound, vaguely humanoid, stuck to the side of the wall, kind of covered in lichen, and a slight chill kind of goes down your spine because you recognize, vaguely at least, the entity as a whole. You've interacted with one before now. And now you see what can happen when they've been vanquished. But it's just there, just kind of against the wall, lichen be doing its whatever natural thing it does. It doesn't react as you step by. As you take each step, the pulse kind of just ripples over the lichen. The husk doesn't move. You just continue after Rinningham. Bob, Penn,
I'm starting to kind of get into this whole Penn's mindset here of what are we doing? Why are we doing this? What don't we have something we're supposed to be doing? Why are we just wandering at random down here? And more importantly, we have messed up individuals. Why are we wandering away from camp instead of hanging out and healing up? This is just like getting a little bit weirder.
Apparently they didn't want to stay by the dead body.
Do either of you want to roll me just a straight intelligence check?
Sure. Seven.
It continues to bother you. It continues to bother you. A tickle in the back of your brain.
There we go. Figured.
There was definitely, outside of saving Clore, there was definitely a reason you guys had come down here. But honestly, in light of the last few days of the complete redirect,
no idea.
The specifics are kind of lost on you right now. I totally didn't do a recap of what was going on, if you as a player remember or not. But Penn right now, surprisingly, a little flustered by everything that's gone on in the last, at this point, 2 hours.
We have completely lost our way. I mean, just, yeah, completely.
Yeah, it's only been like 2 hours since all of the chaos has gone on at this point.
Pen's gonna check on Teller.
Okay. Roll me a handle animal check. I know he's your familiar, but we're going for.
Nice.
It takes you a minute to kind of like go through your robes and stuff like that and try to be like, where the heck is. Just to find he's been sleeping like right literally at the back of your neck as you've been patting around. And just kind of like peeks his little squirrely head up and just kind of stares at you and just kind of like sleepily. And you get the feeling that out of all the chaos and everything that's been going on, Teller's just been chilling.
Nice.
You do notice that some of his tail hair is a little bit singed, but it looks like
Aw.
it's been really cleaned. So he's definitely taking care of it. But otherwise, he was just kind of sleeping in the back of your hood.
Perfect. Okay.
Rinningham being at the front, and Clore, you can kind of see some of this too because you're up ahead with and you have dark vision. It's another 120 feet or so as you're walking down that you begin to notice the hue of the lichen begins to change again and goes from the green that you've become familiar with and starts to turn that sickly yellow. It's also not as reactive as the last time you walked down this tunnel, where every step created a much more profound pulse. It's a little more. Well, at this point, it's about as reactive as the rest of the green that you've just been going on. Where last time when you hit the yellow, it was slightly more reactive. What do you do anything, or you just keep walking into the yellow section? It's on you, Rinningham.
Yeah, is there any other difference to this lichen other than the color? Like, does it feel different if I run my hands over it? Does it feel, is it firmer, softer? Does it feel like it's getting more lush?
Texture wise, it's less lush. So like the green lichen is soft, leafy. This has a slightly drier texture on the edges. It's not sharp, it's not necessarily painful, but it is distinctly rougher.
So as I'm gonna have the mage hand stop wherever it is, and I'm gonna slowly approach the skull and just kind of be like, "Well, now what is this? Why is this changing? I thought we were headed to the source, to the truth, to the answers."
And you get the hairs on the back of your neck kind of rise up again as you feel the faintest of an echo in the back of your head. I didn't mean to.
Well, no, I didn't mean to. That's what I was saying. What were you saying?
Silent.
Well, what's the point of walking down here then? You didn't mean to what? I didn't mean to. No one meant to.
Clore, you can hear some murmurings from up ahead as you slowly catch up to Rinningham.
All right. Can I see past him and see like what's further down with my dark? Like, is it just a continuous tunnel? Like, does it just keep going?
It kind of bends. Roll me a survival check.
Oh, my rolls are trash. Oh, I rolled a 6, or a natural 3, and a natural 1 with my disadvantage. So we'll take the natural 1. That's 2 of them so far.
It's like it's the name of the campaign or something.
So what's the total on your survival there with a natural 1?
4. Sorry.
Okay,
A natural 1 for a total of 4.
looking up ahead, you can tell that the tunnel definitely bends. The lichen along the walls, and you can kind of make out the texture, and you can see that kind of meanders off to the right. However, what sticks out to you is the last time you saw anything like this, it was swarming. It was active. It was collecting. This here appears to be stagnant. Stable, almost, in a way that you hadn't seen before.
So, all right. Runningham. Is this the way out? Is this where we're going?
Out? Who said anything about out?
Well, what's your goal here? I thought this was the way out.
I'm looking
That's
for
the
the
only
answers.
reason we're walking this way.
Do you remember why we came down here?
We've only been down here for like a couple hours.
It
I'd say
seems
at
like a lot
most.
longer, doesn't it? Seems like we've
Wait,
been
did
down here
Brinningham
for
say
such
that
a
loud
long
enough for
time.
everyone to hear?
I mean,
We're kind of having a conversation, like we're just talking. I don't know if you guys came up close enough. I remember you were trying to keep your distance.
it wouldn't be hard for them to catch up, so they would be able to
Yeah,
definitely
but-
hear it.
I was saying, like, unless you purposefully stayed behind, then yeah, probably.
If only there were,
You know
some
why we're
way for
down
people
here?
to keep track of things that we're doing in a game.
Sorry, Theo.
No,
Like
Deuces.
taking notes and stuff. I don't
I-
know.
I know.
Theo,
what
your
we've done
Theo's meticulous journal
here. Died. with
cooked.
him.
Cooked.
Oh,
Gone.
no, but I mean from like a player perspective, it would be
Oh.
it would be absolutely inappropriate of me to mention anything, but certainly,
Well-
I'd imagine that it would be easy for people to look back at their notes and refresh their memory.
Well, it's
if they
honestly,
had any.
I honestly
True.
do find it rather fitting for some characters to just know or not know, or remember or not remember in, again, within the last 2 hours, one of their friends from the last several weeks has just died, so it's gonna probably be okay for them to not be thinking in the moment of what the next step is.
I know,
Well,
DM, but I'm
yeah,
getting
it's
some
like-
sort of
Pen and Bob have been alternating between like cat and dog leading the blind leading the blind, just trying to find floors. We continue to go down into more and more tunnels.
I'm just getting some enjoyment out of this is all I'm saying. I told you guys one of these days I wouldn't be able to take notes for you and then what would happen. And
I'm
here
not
we
asking as
are.
a player, I'm asking as Pen.
Right. You're asking his pen. And normally, like if Theo were there, he'd be able to be like, well, I think that weren't we doing XYZ? But I can't do that now. Theo is an X character, like an X parrot.
Okay. Let's get back to some of the conversation that's actively taking place here.
When Penn says that, I say, I don't care what we came here to do. I want to get out of this tunnel before we all die, before we all end up like Theo.
But there's something in this tunnel. Didn't you feel it when we came down here?
Yeah, death. There's
it's-
death in this tunnel.
It's
Ruben.
more than it's
You've
more than
seen to
death.
that.
There's life as well. There was life when no one expected there to be life. There can be more life. It doesn't just have to be death. There can be answers to why we came down this tunnel.
We came down this tunnel because we were following you, because I thought it was the way out.
Out can mean many things, Ed boy. I don't say that. Out.
I was gonna get really close to an
There's
Eldritch
a-
Blast here.
Yeah.
Rolf's a jerk, ain't gonna work. Rolf's a jerk, ain't gonna work.
But yeah, no. We have to make it mean something. It can't just be getting out.
Things have just gotten weird.
Oh, they've only just gotten weird.
Well, some of us have different standards as to weirdness.
So if we're not going out, tell me the plan. Otherwise, I'll find my own way out.
The plan is to keep going down this tunnel. There's an answer at the end of it. I just know it.
But in answer to what question? You've been muttering for the past however long down this hall.
Look, there's some power, there's some force there. It almost called us down here. We didn't have to come down this tunnel. We didn't have to go down the last tunnel, but there was a reason outside of finding you that we came down here. Whether or not it was what we were told why we came down here or why we thought we decided to come down here, there's another answer. And it's at the end of this tunnel.
Renningham, give me just a straight intelligence check, just for shiggles and gits.
And that's not well, hold on.
I guess it would be with disadvantage because you have the.
Yeah, I've never been exhausted before. Well, as a character, I've never been exhausted before. I live my life exhausted.
Permanently exhausted.
With disadvantage, well, I mean, that's a natural one, so disadvantage.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, that's just the way.
It's almost like you guys could have taken a rest back at the grotto, but Renningham, you really do know in your heart that there is something else you can do down here. What it is, obviously, you're trying to find out. Why you otherwise came down here, other than saving Chlor, not coming to mind.
Yeah, and that's not working for Chlor. So, Pen, Bob, do you know how to get out of here? Let's go.
No, I mean, the chances of us going backwards down the places we took to get here are almost just as dangerous as not knowing what's ahead. Not to mention, we might have blown up part of the way. Significantly. With, like, explosives-ish. It was water. It was just water. And some other stuff.
If we could have, like, anger points, Chlor would be at, like, 7.
What happens when he reaches 10?
Chlor just starts walking down the hallway further, like the direction we were already going. But there he goes.
Chlor's in the lead.
He is in the lead, moving at half speed.
He's in the lead for all of 3 seconds before Renningham just passes him again.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't.
Like just anger, like and tiredness, and just like not understanding. Just keeps going.
So I know that like that's not how Cure Wounds works, but as I pass Chlor, I am going to cast Cure Wounds, and I'm just going to lay my hand on his shoulder. Well, I guess his hip. How tall is he compared? I'm going to brush his lower hamstring.
Get his. Chlor, he really wants to make it up to you.
That's oddly specific, and I'm not a fan.
This is not the Love Boat.
It was actually his back inner hamstring. Like
the crook of the knee.
No.
But no, I'm going to pat his elbow as I pass and say, we're all working through this in our own way. We just got to keep moving forward. I cast Cure Wounds as a first level. I think I can do that. Can I?
Yeah, you can do that. I'm pretty sure you can do that.
It's in the second level slot.
Oh, then you.
But it has a blue first square on it. Is that allowed?
It's a first level spell that you'd be casting at second level. You're forced to cast it at second level for some reason. Oh no, you have Cure Wounds at first level. It's there. It's the second one on your list.
Spell. Yeah. It's just the way that the spells are arranged. But yeah.
Oh, it means that when you cast it at second level, it means you get an extra D8.
Okay, so I just roll 1d8 plus 5 for him.
Yep.
Even though I don't think he needs the
I
help.
don't need. Yeah, I don't need that. The
It's just, it's just like I recognize that you're not feeling great. You're exhausted. I'm trying to help you out.
It doesn't help. But thank you.
You get 10 health
I was already
to top you off. I don't care. It's just it's the sentiment.
It's a sentiment.
Maybe overhealing will affect your levels of exhaustion. I'm not a doctor,
but
I clearly didn't go to medical school.
okay.
Oh no, they actually don't have mechanics for resisting harmless spells now. Of what? So it's a thing in Pathfinder where you can actually resist harmless spells. So if you were to cast Cure Wounds on there, and Clora was just like, no, you could actually do, it's like a Wisdom save, or in this case, that was a Will save, but you'd be able to save against it and not actually get cured. But that doesn't work in 5e. So you suddenly the few wounds and soreness that you do have and the little burns that you had on your feet from, they don't hurt so much anymore. You're still dog tired, but you don't hurt so much anymore.
Nice. I was down 3 hit points total.
So, Renningham, you get to continue your march forward, slowly leaving Clore behind you, since you just kind of like tapped him as you went.
And offered words of encouragement and health.
You continue onward.
I want to make such a bad joke at Chloe right now, but I feel like I'd be killed. I'd be murdered. I'm not willing to die in this for that joke.
Dave, you're muted again.
Probably for good reason. No, I'm just following. I've got nothing to say.
Okay.
I'm just.
Renningham, give me a
continue
perception
walking.
check.
Straight up.
I mean,
4.
You continue walking down the hallway and using the head. Are you still like kind of letting that float in front of you, or did you catch?
Yeah,
you caught back up to it when you were talking to it last. So
yeah, and it's still, and now it's facing me as we're walking.
Okay,
and it's not as far in front of me, but I guess I'm not like actively holding it.
What was the better? What was your first roll on that perception check?
That was a 15.
Yay!
Okay. So, because the skull is facing you, I'm giving you advantage on this because you're intentionally paying attention to the skull as well with this when you should have disadvantage. So neutral's out. So the first roll was all you had to do.
Okay.
As you're walking, you kind of sort of spot a fork in the road.
But I have a spoon.
I was gonna ask how many tines it had.
This is knife the way. Sorry. Spork me.
Act like a real
I'm trying to come up with one that uses plate or
You're
bowl
grating
or
on me.
something, and it's
any
that's terrible.
utensil.
These jokes are sharp, let me tell you.
No.
Oh boy, that was good.
You're staring ahead, and you're like, let me take a stab at this. On the left, as you move
Not
the
immediately.
skull towards the left, the eyes kind of dim. As you move the skull towards the right, the eyes continue to stay at a pretty steady yellow brightness that seems to reflect the lichen around you. You didn't notice that the eyes were glowing, or whether or not the eyes were glowing in previous sections, but you do know that they are distinctly glowing right now.
So I get closer to it. I'm like, well, now what? Why are your eyes glowing? Do you want to glow? Do we go left? Do we go right?
And as you move it left again, the eyes kind of dim in proximity, so it's like the right eye dims first and then the left. Well,
Oh,
it's left, so
sensitive.
yeah. And then as
Yeah.
it moves back, the eyes kind of bright back up again, one at a time.
Is there any acknowledgement from the skull whenever I'm talking to it? Nothing at all.
Again, you still get the same sensation of the messages received. You just don't hear anything back.
I mean, I'm taking the right path.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I did use your, technically within the last 24 hours, I did use one of your bardic inspirations to get you Tales from the Beyond.
Okay. Which
The determined tale is Tale of the Avenger, number 5.
Okay. So if I use it, Chris Evans comes down and
Yes.
drops it
and
like it's hot with America's ass.
basically. I was hoping for, at the time, either 4 or 6, because you could have had, the ability to teleport or, faster movement speed, but no, you got
Only.
Tale of the Avenger. Just in case it becomes relevant, it's already prepped and ready for you.
Gotcha. And to re-roll, I have to burn another bardic inspiration.
Long rest. Use a bonus action to expend the use of one and roll on the table for a bardic. You can only retain one tail at a time, and the tail lasts until your next short or long rest, or until you roll again. Oh, I missed that. So yeah, you would have to roll again on the table. So
Which
you could
is
burn
the
another.
cost of a bardic inspiration. All right.
Yeah. So you've used 2 today.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah. Gotcha. I marked it. Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah. So as you've been asking it, where you want it, where it wants you to go, how to get there, you just know that one fork in the road. Otherwise, from what you can tell, the lichen in the tunnel is both sides are yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
following the lights of the eyes.
If you hadn't been really using the ground thus far to kind of keep your footing on stuff like that, you probably wouldn't have even noticed. Similar to in the grotto, where like the walls kind of obscure the layering, you might not even have noticed that there was a fork in the tunnel.
Oh, jeez.
So, do you follow Bright Eyes or Shadow Eyes?
Bright eyes.
Bright Eyes. Okay.
Well, there was a bushy tail.
Chlor, roll me a perception check.
Ooh.
And Bob and Penn could as well. I mean, they're not far behind what everything else is going on.
Well, with disadvantage, that is a 5.
I forgot you have disadvantage too.
Oh, there we go.
Jeez, somebody's rolls are on today.
We're doing
Oh gosh. So Bob, tell us that number out loud so the rest of the class can know what's going on.
But it's so much fun just watching the reactions. That would be a 24, a 20 rolled naturally, plus 4 because of my wisdom.
So the first nat 20 of the evening after a slew of nat 1s.
Bob has no exhaustion points?
No, neither him
Bob
nor I
has-
do.
Oh my goodness.
Bob
You
is
wanna
in
take one of
incredibly
mine?
good shape, actually. Even
Why
after
don't you-
taking
So
an
is
Eldritch, he after taking an Eldritch Blast, he is currently still at maximum hit points.
You should transform back into like a horse so that Chlor can ride you.
He can't
That
shift
would be
again for a while.
absolutely fantastic, with the exception of the fact that I have expended all of my wild shape for the day.
Unfortunate.
Very.
All right. Bob, from this distance, you kind of can see, Clore still barely limping along. Rinningham continues to kind of get ahead, stops for a minute or two to look at what's going on. Clore can slowly kind of start to catch up. But you notice this time that Rinningham has the skull and kind of you can even see the reaction on the eyes of this husk skull. Probably one of the first times you're actually getting a decent look at what he's been carrying around, even if it's from a distance, and you recognize it immediately as the thing that knocked you flat on your ass. In this here tunnel, not a day before. Remember, that was literally yesterday.
It feels like it was 3 months ago.
I know, right?
Okay.
Strange how that happens.
So I'm since Penn and I are walking, I'm gonna elbow Penn. It's like, you see this? You see this nonsense?
What?
You not see that skull?
It's a pretty skull. I want one.
Do you not recognize that thing? I had a run-in with that just yesterday, and it like slapped me around. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not sure I like this.
Maybe it's leading us back to his hoard.
I don't
we'll
think
find a
that's
bunch
the
of gold.
case. I'm not sure that this weird skull thingy has a hoard. That's unnatural. I don't know what that is.
Pim looks at Bob and goes, "What about any of us is natural?"
Well, I am. I'm made of granola and smiles.
And held together by the bounds of natural magic.
Which occurs, yes, it's all part of the maintenance of the world at large. There's not unnatural. You're talking to a bard. Come on.
Okay,
How can I
if
not?
if it goes south, we both know we can outrun them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but we need to investigate that skull. That's just weird.
DM, can I investigate the skull? No, I don't want to. Maybe. Not right now. Probably
Floor, roll me a perception check. You already have disadvantage, so you're fine. Just because you're the next closest one in proximity, I just want to hear roll a perception check because I just you keep muting yourself, sir.
That would be another 5.
Oh.
Yeah, you hear like none of the conversation. You know that they're having like conversation, but you are so focused on trying to figure out what Rinningham is doing. On top
so
of your
tired.
desire to get it, and you're so tired, it's like no, none of that really, none of that really picks up. No, as two of the party basically decide to prepare to bail the other ones if all shit goes south. Cool, got it. Okay, so 3 new player character, got it.
Bob and I make a great team.
Next time on The Adventures of Bob and Penn and whoever else they kind of find.
There you go.
You just
Polar
continue to watch
opposites who
as
get along.
Yeah. It's like Smokey and the Bandit, just a little less action packed and more just but why?
Yeah.
So Rinningham, you continue with the skull, and as you head off to the right right side fork, you begin to kind of feel the ground starts to have a change in pitch after about 30 feet. And you can tell that as you continue this way, you are going up. And as you go up slowly, and the rest of you guys coming up behind can begin to feel the change in pitch, the skull's eyes kind of a little bit brighter for just a second. And they go back to their normal yellowish glow. And as you continue to do your occasional moving around the walls, you can still see the reaction of it. The other thing you notice is that every step has a slightly stronger response now against the walls again. Similar to when you were in the green section.
So I'm getting more and more excited walking uphill, noticing the response, noticing the flash, and I'm trying not to leave Chlor behind, who's absolutely exhausted. But
So you just
more
kind of
excited.
barely keep him in sight as this path kind of like slowly winds and turns upwards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You obviously notice it first being in front. But the smell in the air begins to change. What
Yummy.
was once a kind of sweet but mostly earthy, slightly damp smell, the sweetness starts to kind of fade off and is the earthiness, and there's a slight even pungent slight rot smell. Not the same as when you were down with the pill bugs. This smells a little fresher than that particularly putrid stank. There's still a distinct earthiness to this as well. But it's just one of those like kind of like hot garbage, but earthy hot garbage.
My stage
And
name.
and the humidity increases slightly.
Mm.
Earthy hot garbage.
That would also happen when I took the stage. The humidity would increase, just a little bit.
Jeez.
Oh yes.
That's exactly what you want when you go to a concert or a performance.
Yeah, I don't necessarily notice the humidity change or the scent. Well, I mean, you say that I notice, but like it's just kind of in passing, and like I detect the change, but it doesn't register as anything other than, okay, good, there's change. We're going up, things are changing, we're getting closer to the destination. The destination being whatever, I'm thinking is gonna be the reward at the end of this, because it has to mean something. Theo didn't die for nothing. We weren't down here for nothing. I'm a little distraught and forgot what we were doing. The character forgot.
Yeah, you're really role playing that one well there.
Thank you. That's a lot of skill, a lot of talent.
Renningham, roll me another intelligence check. Just straight intelligence check. Let's just see as you continue to be like, I know we were supposed to be doing something. That thought comes back. I'm going to give you an opportunity to check.
Yeah, it's what was it? Not investigation. Intelligence. Yeah, 6.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you know for sure there was something you were supposed to do. This doesn't feel like the wrong path, but it definitely doesn't feel like
Does the smell, because it's a fresh kind of fresh rot, like it's a fresh rot, and there's that sickly sweet that's kind of like decay. Does that kickstart the memories that we were like looking for bodies?
I mean,
is there any kind of synapses being like there was a bunch of missing, or like we were looking for like not dead bodies, but it smells like what I know dead bodies smell like.
A little bit, yeah. It's think about like wet rotting logs plus a little smell of rotten meat. Like trying to think of what it would trigger in this context. You do remember for sure that the path you took to get all the way down here had, raw sewage, and that had a very pungent smell to it. And does that help Renningham ring any bells as to why they're all the way down here?
Yeah, waste. He remembers waste. That's it. That's all.
Okay,
That's all.
okay.
That was like human waste or like human product.
Cool. Cool. You continue onward. And the smell slowly gets worse. Every 30, 35 feet or so, you'll take a step and the ground actually gets a little softer for just a moment. And shortly after, you get a distinct parfum of whatever is going on. And Chlor, being behind you, you get a slightly stronger sense of these particular smells, and then shortly after, Bob and Penn. And there are sections of this where, if you remember, your footprints were slowly obfuscated behind you as you went the first time down any of these tunnels. The silt kind of sort of reorganized itself. The pockets that Ridingham kind of steps on, you can see where it's slightly softer. Those don't recover as quickly as the silt that is firmer and stuff behind you.
Looking
Yeah.
ahead, is there like any opening coming up that we're approaching? Is there any?
What you've noticed for sure is that this seems to be almost like a spiral, slowly winding your way upwards. It's a gradual enough pitch where the turn is gradual enough where Rinningham is just kind of barely in and out of sight ahead of you with the way that the turn. Thank you, smartwatch device. He kind of keeps crossing in and out of sight as the spiral slowly makes its way up. However, you can't really tell where this is necessarily going. Actually, roll me another survival check, Chlor.
Oh,
And try to do well this time.
well, that one was a 17, so maybe if my disadvantage one is good. Okay, a 13, a total of a 13.
Okay, so this smell.
It's a smelly smell. The kind of smell that smells smelly.
Squidward smells good. The earthy rot. It takes you a moment, but suddenly you're kind of back there and you can hear a voice that you didn't think you'd hear again, just kind of in your memory. It's like it triggers the memory of this voice of, we didn't know, or actually that was, we did not know what we did. We did not mean to do this. And you're reminded of the moving, organizing, whatever it was, slowly crawling across the floor as the form in front of you became more and more husk-like, as that memory kind of flashes back into your mind of what that room outside the visual horrors smelt like.
Okay. Can I pull out the partial map that I found and see if there is if there is a spiral section? Like, are we heading back towards that? Obviously, like, if I can know that we're kind of heading in a spiral, are we like, is that showing up on the map? Is that something that we're
taking a look at the map? And with the survival check that you rolled, you now recognize that as you've taken the different paths and as you've headed in this direction, while it seems like you've kind of deviated some planes a little bit. So you had come from a slightly lower area further down the other tunnel, where this tunnel is definitely higher physically, but on the map you can see several rings of what is defined as a spiral. And in a little arrow on one of them, it's just the edge of this circle. It doesn't give you a good depth of how many rounds you have to make. It doesn't give you a good sense of how high or low above the ground you are. But the arrow on the edge of this map says to Atrium.
I'll call to Rinningham. I've been here before. I know this smell. Come look at this map.
You've been here before. He's been here before. He's been here before. We're okay. There's a map. Look at the map.
I found this when I was trying to find you. You guys, when I was trying to catch back up with you. I found this map, and I don't really know exactly all the places that I had run down. I didn't mark them, but this is right here, and I point out the spot where the spiral is to kind of like show Rinningham. Obviously, he's looking for something.
So, Rinningham, for your edification, what you're looking at is it's less for navigation and more for construction, it appears. There are notes on it for dates. There are notes, and they're very old dates. Like, decades old dates. But it's for sections of, when certain things were cleared, when things are to be cleared next. Spots for where stockpiling of resources was either planned to be or are. Clore, you recognize a bunch of those marks on the map from when you were making your way out. You know that they didn't actually complete all of the places that they marked for putting supplies or anything else. And so this map appears to be a lot more architectural construction based and planning than it is for navigation. And on the edge, the corner of this map, and it's a rather large piece, you can kind of see where this spiraled section is noted, and you don't even have a full slice of this, full piece of the spiral. It's almost like you only have 25% of it. You just have the corner of this spirally section of map.
What is it coming off of?
That, unfortunately, is
The part that's not. So
there's an
it's
arrow that
spiraling
tells you it's heading you. Yes, it's spiraling up, and the map indicates that as you head towards the right, that points towards the to atrium. So an atrium, the atrium. There's an atrium in the direction. If this map is to be correct about you being on that spiral.
So it's just to atrium, but we don't have a map of the atrium.
Correct. This map appears to go, from what you can kind of sort of judge on the scale, several hundred feet outside of where this tunnel that you are right now. You can see that there are other paths and other things that were carved out on this map, or at least planned to be carved out. And you can see tunnels and pieces that go off the map elsewhere. You see Clore, the control room that you had found, is on this map. So the other zone that you had met that poor individual is on this map. Before you eventually went off the map as you were trying to escape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the spiral the start of it, because it had to have been excavated from somewhere. The start of it was the tunnel that we walked through. That part's on the map?
Nope. You're basically, it's as if you think Minecraft. You start in one town and you map out that whole area, and then you have another map of the next area as you go. It's like you have this map that has a chunk of another piece of something ways away. And so you can tell that this might be where you're at, but the rest of the map is what's filled out. You just see a chunk that's recognizable as this might be where we are.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing else on the map that's like headed in the direction of that spiral.
Vaguely, the tunnel that Chlor would have had to run through would have been in vaguely the direction of the atrium. However, you did not run into the atrium, Chlor.
Hmm. Well, this map
Actually,
doesn't really-
Chlor, give me an intelligence check, just straight intelligence check.
Oh.
And no disadvantage, because this would be relatively fresh in your head.
18.
18. You remember where looking at this map, looking at the hole, or remembering back to that room and the hole in the wall where these things were kind of sort of going.
And falling through, yeah.
And falling through was vaguely in the same direction as where this says to atrium.
So, okay, so I guess it's time to explain this to the group.
Do we want to explain it to the group, or do we want to take a quick break and then we can start off with explaining some of where you've been, how you've been, and what you know to the rest of the group?
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm
All right.
excited.
So we're going to take a quick break. I'll be back in about 15-ish minutes. Go have a drink, go have a snack or something, and we'll be back.
I wasn't gonna take it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back from our break. I hope you grabbed yourself a beverage and a snack, because
It's back
Chlor's
here.
got some things to tell us as he pulls out his map and remembers more and more about his experiences leading up to reconvening with the party. Chlor, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so if you look at the map, I think we're over here in the corner. I don't know what the atrium is, but it looks like that's what we're headed toward. Does that make sense? I'm discussing with Rinningham because I would imagine that
No,
everyone else
it-
mind us.
I mean, I guess I understand the words separately, but atrium. Why would there be an atrium? Who was building an atrium?
I don't know. When I was trying to find you guys, I was running through, um, tunnels trying to figure out where I was. I found this map and, um, I ran through a couple of these spots on here and, I didn't think it would be useful because I was just trying to find a way out. But, obviously this is only part of a bigger map, but, um,
Do you remember what you said? You've been through parts of it. Then it's not the atrium though. The atrium is still unexplored.
yeah, there's a control room as it says on the map. I don't know what it controls though. I went through it and then um this room that's unlabeled, unmarked. It's just kind of a square. There's some weird crap going on. There's like these body parts that were just walking through and in this line, and they just were like moving almost like an assembly line through this opening in the wall. I didn't stay too long because it creeped me out, and I was trying to find you and get out of here. And then I went through to the control room, and I couldn't read any of the walls. I couldn't read anything, and it looked like a dead end, and I'm not really sure where it leads to and what it controls. But
Did you recognize the language? I know you couldn't read it, but could you at least remember what it was?
could I remember, DM?
Looking at the map, it appears to have like the map key is in a couple of different languages, and you recognize one of the versions of the script on there.
Wait, yeah. Can I read? Are you saying there's labels on the map that can't be read
That he could not read at the time
on the map?
on the map.
Not on the
Oh well,
control.
it was in the control room, but he recognizes the script as part of the key to the map is in a couple of different languages, some that you recognize, and he can recognize the script of the ones that he did
So
not recognize.
So it was in this language here, and I point to it, but I don't know what it is. I just couldn't read it.
Are there other words on the map in that language that aren't in like? Is it just labeling? Really? Is that all it is?
Yeah, it's more like this meant supplies. This meant
Okay.
you know. So the one that's next to supplies has it in
5 different languages.
actually 4 languages, and you recognize 3 of them, Rinningham.
So I would know. Which one did he point to?
The one that was marked for supplies, and
But he said it
it's
was in
you can
this.
Well, what
so,
language
so
was
you recognize Fleur, you're able to go through, and the symbol that says supplies, there are 3 languages next to it you don't recognize. You only recognize what's in common.
What was one of the? I guess was one of those languages. Did it match the markings of what was in the control room?
Yes. However, Rinningham does not can see that language is there and does not know how to read it either.
Okay, so it was a language that is not one of the 3 that he knew. So I point to it. I say it was whatever this language is. The symbols match up, but I couldn't read it, so I don't know what the language is. But it was in the control room, and there were 2 doors in the control room, and I didn't know where they went to or couldn't get through them, so I turned around and went a different direction.
I know I can read those languages. Where's the control room? Can you get back to the control room?
Um,
Does that connect from here?
no. So
Is it
looking
through
at
the
the
atrium?
looking at the map, right? We have to go back through the fire hallway.
Nah, it'll connect to the atrium.
The only other way I got down there was unconscious, so I don't remember. So when they kidnapped me, I don't know how they put me there. I just know how I got to you.
Well, it's too far back, and I don't feel like walking through the fire and flames.
I also would like to point out that I guess if this is becoming increasingly relevant, where I was being held captive was in some sort of plumbing area for the city above. So we were like, so we're going up in a slow upward trajectory in this spiral. I imagine this atrium may also somehow have an exit that also leads up more toward the city that we started, or the area that we started, which is why I just kind of have followed you, because
No way to go but up.
that's our goal here.
That's what it sounds like.
But yeah,
you have a map that proves it.
If the other thing is too that there a lot of the tunnels had, not a lot of the tunnels, a tunnel had tracks where they were delivering supplies and stuff like that potentially could lead out. But I again didn't go that direction, so I don't know. And it doesn't say on the map because the map's not that big.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like one with this map plus your experience plus the direction we're already heading. I'd say upward and onward. Onward and upward. Up and out.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I'm assuming that they're having this conversation without Penn and I.
I mean, they started having it before you guys would have caught up, but you're only a few steps behind them, so you definitely could hear pretty much everything.
We're walking into the ending of this conversation.
It wouldn't be unreasonable for you to have walked in the middle of it either, if you wanted to. Even if you just listened, so you're welcome to chime in whenever, because Chlor is moving at half speed, so you've been able to outpace Chlor this entire time.
Would anybody like to explain what you're talking about? What this map is? What you guys are having this conversation about an entirely different life, and we're just sort of along. Could you fill us in, please?
Okay, what part didn't you hear?
Let's assume none of it.
Oh, okay. I was captive, and then I wasn't captive. I was held in a plumbing area that had pipes and water pipes and potentially sewer pipes. I don't really know, just pipes. Ran out of that into a hallway that had tracks, followed those a little bit. I saw supply drop potentially, or stuff that had stuff that they were building the tunnels with, and I went through it. I found this map, followed said map through to the control room. On the map, you can look at the map. Here's the map. It says control room.
Where did you get this map?
I told you, Bob, I found it on in a supply drop for that had
okay, it was in the supply drop. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was just I was going through an old supply drop that just had supplies for building and creating tunnels, and this map was there.
Okay.
So I didn't think it was useful because it was a construction thing. So I just tried to follow it as best I could. It took me to the control room, which I thought would be helpful. It turns out I couldn't read any of the signs, any of the symbols, didn't know what the control room controlled. So I left and was walking through this tunnel, and I pointed out around the edge. And then that's when things started getting lit on fire, and I started running and found you.
Oh, okay. So,
but if you look in the corner here, there's a spiral that says to the atrium. And I think that's where we are, which is why I brought the map up to begin with.
Okay, now what's the story on this skull?
What skull?
I don't know where it came from. I was Runningham's had that since I saw you.
So why does it look like you're talking to this skull?
You remember when we were in that tunnel earlier?
Yeah.
You mean this tunnel?
And
Yeah.
there was,
earlier? Yeah.
and there was that husk that we fought. Didn't you remember it screaming into your mind?
Yeah.
Well, it said a few more things, and I figured it would be good to carry around in case it had more to say.
And I'm assuming that it said something more than "I like your hairstyle."
Well, Bob, that's always nice to hear, and you could stand to say it a little bit more, but no, it didn't say much more than that.
And you thought, "Oh wow, here's a talking skull that doesn't have anything important to say. I think I'll carry it around with me and have conversations."
Well, Bob, sometimes the importance
It gets a
of the
little
thing
lonely
being
in the
said,
cave. Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, the importance of the thing being said doesn't always constitute whether or not I should keep it around.
Okay, so please accept my skeptical nature on this, but I feel like there's something happening within this party that I'm not participating in, even though I'm supposed to be a member of this party.
Well, Bob,
You understand how I get that feeling?
I can understand how you feel that way, and I guess sometimes when things are happening and there's no input given, it's assumed that that is input. No answer is a good answer, I've always heard. So, without
I
any
found that
input being given, how could we possibly formulate or include any other opinion?
I'm kind of operating on a certain level of faith in my compatriots here that they are able to exercise judgment and discern what is appropriate to share with the rest of the party and what's not. I don't like to think that I have to like squeeze somebody's thumbs to get them to reveal
Oh.
data.
Wow, I think
Sounds like you're squeezing, Bob.
um uh
I just kind of feel like I've been left out in something here, and I feel like it's something that might be a bit important, and I also feel like if there is something going on that I should be aware of, this is the time to tell me. Whereas if I were to find out about it later, I'm not going to feel the relief of, "Oh wow, you told me." I'm going to feel more like, "Why did you not tell me sooner?" So just so you understand where I'm coming from on this.
Sounds great, Bob.
So am I up to speed on what's happening here?
You're as up to speed as we are. We're making this up as we go along.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have the map. I told you the whole story.
Oh, that's cool. I'm down with the map.
We're
I'm
going
just- I'm
onwards
just-
and up. We're the
I'm just perplexed about this whole skull thing. I'm just, I feel like there's more to it than what we're hearing. But hey, if that's all you want to tell me and you want to stick to it, I'll hold you accountable for it later.
I think you should. That's the most that I've gotten out of the skull was where
Okay,
we're going.
Just make
I've
sure at
been
no
using it
point
as
in
a
time I
tool,
find
Bob.
out that there was more involved.
I've been using it as a tool.
So how would you be using it as a tool if you're just having casual conversation? How can it be a tool? I mean, that's kind of the information I'm looking for here. How is it a tool?
So you remember earlier when we were walking and it was reacting to the lichen on the walls.
Uh-huh.
And we came to a fork.
Uh-huh.
And on one side of the fork, the eyes were dim, and one side the eyes were bright. I chose to interpret that as some sort of direction, reacting to the lichen on the walls. There's an organic substance. There's something natural about these tunnels, something that reacts to this natural thing that we are not in possess of until we came across the skull, and I'm now using the skull to react to the natural surroundings and lead our way out of here.
Okay, see, that would count as communication beyond "I like your hair."
It didn't say anything. How do you communicate with a candle?
Nonverbal communication.
How do you communicate with a candle? When the wind makes it flicker, is it telling you something? Only if you interpret it. I was interpreting this skull, eyes lighting up, as maybe a more powerful let's go that way. When you see the stars shine bright at night, you're a druid. You're in the trees.
This could just be a magnet that's pointing to like whatever source that it feels most drawn to.
Sure.
Okay.
And right now, that source is up and away from where we are.
And what
Would you
makes
rather go deeper?
What makes you think that it is a wise decision to follow the directions of a candle, in effect?
What
Do
other
you-
decisions did we have?
What makes you think this is not a trap of some sort?
Oh, a trap from a skull, Bob.
DM, Chlor starts walking, but mind you, at half pace.
Yeah.
We get
You
through
guys
the whole
all watch
conversation.
as he's just like leaning on the wall, and every so often touching, he's like, "Oh, that's a weird sensation." You know, the lichen as it just kind of ripples and glows and does its thing, and he's just slowly making his way away,
We can walk
still
and
very
talk.
within
We've been
earshot
walking
because
and-
Yeah, Bob, if you
Well,
want to go the other way, go the other way. This is
We've
the
been walking and talking.
only
yeah.
lead we got.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the idea of splitting up the party is never a good idea. Just no,
it's
I'm
the
just
best idea.
yeah. I'm
I was
just,
gonna
just-
say all of our adventures happened when we split up.
That's
which
true.
and by the way, at this point in time, we do have unhealthy folks that would probably do with the rest. We've got a body of a fallen compatriot behind us that we're just walking away from without even thinking about or even deciding what to do with.
I
mean,
did
how-
think
If you let it
about
go
that.
long enough, it'll decay.
Yeah, or it may have mushrooms growing on it. Who knows?
Still decay, but yes.
Yeah. So since there is no sense of urgency and it's just a skull, it's not really communicating anything significant. May I suggest that we return and like do a little rest and get into better shape since we're not on a timetable to follow or find anything?
Bob, that's the most
best
sense you've
suggestion
made all
anyone's
day.
come up with.
Yeah,
Every now and then I get lucky.
running
Yeah,
here
you
sounds like
do.
you're getting overruled here. But do we just go here, or should we take a rest in the atrium?
Can
I
we?
think the
The
atrium would
atrium's probably fine if we make sure it's safe.
I think that's a better choice because we spent more time traipsing around there. We're in kind of an unsecured area. While the atrium is not exactly secure, it's easier to secure than this.
Oh,
You
the
mean
atrium.
the grotto, the mushroom grotto?
Yeah, the grotto. I'm sorry, I
Okay.
used the wrong
Oh.
terminology. My bad. Plus, we still have to decide what we're going to do with our fallen compatriot.
Don't think there's. Okay. I'm all for a long rest anywhere because I'm quite literally twice as exhausted as.
Yeah, and you've gotten to the point where my healing spells aren't going to do you any good. You need a little bit more than that.
So mind you, a long rest only alleviates one level of exhaustion. So
I'm well aware.
We could just take 2 long rests.
At least I would have full movement.
We could just sleep.
We just sleep,
Just sleep for like 3 days.
2 days. The problem with that is that you do have a crispy fried body.
No?
We'd bury it that where
Okay.
Penn would
You
maybe
need to
find
do something
use.
with it.
and
I
might
was
find
surprised Penn-
use.
Finger, but I'm not sure how much I want to.
I was surprised Penn didn't react to the talk of body parts walking on their own.
It's crispy. What am I gonna do with it?
Oh no, the
no,
one that Chlor
must have
mentioned.
missed-
I'm talking about the
Yeah.
room I went to that had body parts just lined up, walking through a hole in the wall.
Oh, Penn's inner spirit had to duck out to the bathroom really quick.
Oh,
Ah,
That'll work.
gotcha. That would explain it.
Pen went on autopilot.
Penn turned into an NPC
He's
momentarily.
just sitting there staring off into space like,
He started doing just
Oh,
just
wait.
random
yeah,
stuff.
hi.
All those mushrooms I've been eating, I think it's starting to affect me. It's gotten a lot more colorful in here all of a sudden. Wee.
we're in
Eh.
agreement. We're in agreement that we can push onto the atrium and then stop there if it's safe and
The grotto.
Back
We're
to the grotto
we're-
is what
yeah,
Bob
we're
was
backtracking
suggesting.
to the grotto. At least now we know the way back to get here, though. So
Yeah.
Or we could backtrack up from how we got into the grotto, or go down
No.
another tunnel.
Let's just go take a long rest and figure it out.
Sounds good.
So, what's the
Marking
marching
our path
order?
back on the way down.
Yeah. What's the marching order on the way
Really
back?
walk
Marching
what's
order.
furthest away ish. Not really.
I mean, you guys were
Imagine
in behind back, which now would make you the front if you did literally all just turned around.
Yeah,
Flora's
could
still
just-
at half speed, so there's that.
I think we should like put Chlor up front simply because we all have to move as slowly as Chlor does, and that's a good way of regulating the pace. Plus, we just walked through here. If anything was going to take a bite out of one of our feet, it would have already done it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can we just walk back?
Yeah, let's just walk back. Sure.
Well, I mean,
I'm in front.
I can't fly back. Well, sort of.
Renningham, do you keep the skull out in front as you guys walk back, or do you just like pocket it for now and then
Just pocket it. I mean, we know the way back.
Only one way.
Okay. So you guys slowly make your way back. You realize that how much of a distance you've traveled, because it takes you, half an hour, almost 45 minutes before the lichen color changes back to green. And then it's another few minutes of traveling once the lichen turns green again that you can spot the familiar glow of the atrium off in the not the atrium. You got me messed up now, Bob.
welcome.
The grotto out, off in the distance. And the smell, as you reach the bottom, like get into the yellow hallway, returns to its, earthy smell, and then as you get closer and closer to the grotto, it gets that pleasant, sweet, slightly earthy smell. Stepping back in, Chlor, what do you do now that as you're the first one in?
Into the mushroom.
Yep, into the mushroom.
Where? I mean, I turn around and where do we set up camp? Because I haven't been in here before.
Last time they just kind of set up against one of the walls. It just kind of got comfy.
I do that, and
Yeah.
I try and
There's-
fall asleep as fast as humanly possible.
Probably remnants
I'm
of a
just gonna take the
campfire.
time to make a fire.
Have at it.
Did you guys do that last time? I forget if you made a fire last time.
We did not.
Mm-mm.
So
We
Pen,
just
you
settled by
have
the glow of the lights or the light.
Pen, you have materials to make a fire on you.
We'll see. I don't remember.
Okay, so Pen's gonna try to figure out if they can make a fire. Chlor is immediately heading off to bed. Renningham, what do you?
I'm just gonna excuse me. I'm just going to lean my. I mean, familiarly where we camped. If we're just gonna go back and do the same thing, I mean, I'm comfortable just doing the same thing. As we get into the atrium, the mushroom, though, I say, well, Bob, do we take care of Theo now, or do you want to wait?
I'm not sure what to do with Theo, to be completely honest. I mean, the appropriate thing to do would be, I don't know what. I know that if it were somebody that I didn't care about, we would return the body to where it could be basically decomposed and returned to nature. But I kind of feel like there's a bit of an obligation to adhere to certain things that Theo would have wanted done, but I don't know what they are. So I'm not sure what the appropriate course of action is. I mean, I just don't know. Oh, Penn, did you get that fire started? Because if not, I got a tinderbox over here.
I have a tinderbox. I
Okay,
don't know
cool.
what to set on fire. I mean,
Well-
I can see some things I can try and light again.
Oh, that's dark.
I was just
Oh,
thinking
that's
the same
dark.
thing.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, we know it burns.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was afraid. I knew it was coming too.
Maybe we should
knew-
just make a funeral pyre, and then it's, you know,
Yeah, but
It
we need a
works
bunch
in
of
two
wood to do
ways.
that.
Mushrooms burn.
Oh,
Don't
You know,
they?
I've got a little block of incense. I'm going to break off a little bit and, burn a little frankincense just to take the edge off.
Smells a little less like, burnt almonds in there, because that's, if anyone's ever had the unfortunate experience of smelling freshly burnt
Oh.
flesh.
How soft is the ground in this room?
I always think of barbecue as freshly burnt flesh.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
that's also
saying that
been
it
like
is.
we can get all the way into the semantics of the different eau parfums de flesh.
Yeah, we don't need to break it down.
Yeah.
No.
So Chlor, the ground that you've been walking on and the ground that you're getting ready to lay on is surprisingly comfortable. It's a silty material, so it's like a lot finer than sand, but it doesn't kick up as high as you would expect like clay dust to, if you remember. Oh, you weren't walking in the hallways when they were. So they actually did try to like kick some of this up and see kind of what it did, and it actually stayed rather low to the ground. And then it just kind of settled back down. However, it's firm enough that you don't feel like you're sinking. So it's softer than sand, but firm like dirt. And so you can, with a bedroll, you can actually get rather comfortable. It's not a feather bed, but it's more than sleeping on a rock.
So I would say that with 2 points of exhaustion and a more comfortable ground than Floor's probably laid on in a while, he falls asleep long before anybody does anything else.
Okay.
Perfect. You won't see what happens.
Yep, so Chlor just, curls up. It's just like, oh, screw you guys. Curls up against, gets all comfy. Chlor's out.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Chlor, roll me a Constitution saving throw. And then based off of that, we'll do one other thing.
So also with a point of exhaustion, Ringham sees Chlor just kind of curl up and pass out, and he goes and sits relatively close, not close, but kind of sits by, and
I got
says,
18.
Okay.
"This seems like a pretty good idea. Maybe we should all take a rest."
I'm so mad right now.
See, and it's good because Zoom detects that I'm playing music. You understand?
You're getting a copyright strike right now. Ah.
And
I love you so much. I love you so much. Oh my god.
And it just gets quieter and quieter as Rinningham drifts off to sleep as well.
I don't know if you're inclined to award inspiration, DM, but I found that very inspiring. Beautiful, amazing, magnificent.
Let's just say there may be a moment where the gods shine down and smile just a touch more on Renningham, or take advantage of the situation and totally punish him. We'll find out.
Was that silver bells?
No.
Oh.
No.
Terrible.
I don't actually know the name of it. It's like a lullaby song.
Yeah, it's go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, little baby. I don't know the name of that lullaby, but that's just generic go to sleep lullaby.
The Christmas song Silver Bells follows the exact same tune as what you just said.
Lullaby and good night.
Okay. All right, so Clore, with your Constitution score, roll me a perception check. You with disadvantage, like you're still your normal penalties, but roll me a perception check.
Perception check.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a 7. That was an 18, but that was not disadvantage. This is a natural 4 for a 5. So
okay. You sleep like a boulder, and literally cannot be bothered even by the fact that all of 10 feet from you, Rinningham is playing
a sweet lullaby.
his kazoo. Now, Rinningham, I would love for you to actually roll a performance check with that too. With advantage, actually, because I was personally rather moved. Oh, and you're... Yeah.
That's a 19 performance.
Wow.
So...
Honestly, a bad roll for me, for my performances.
That is true. It's... You actually relax yourself, and as you get ready to drift off, like, the relaxation kind of sets in, and for a moment you feel just a little better before falling asleep. It's almost like you became just a touch less exhausted right before you passed out.
Heck yeah. Get rid of it.
The rest of you may interpret that 19 of, or 19, 17. What was it? 19?
19.
Yeah, the rest of you can interpret that 19 on a kazoo of a lullaby as you will.
Ben's so drowsy he like doesn't even start to strike the tinderbox.
Oh. Apparently, Rinningham just learned the Jigglypuff songs.
Just be glad it wasn't the brown note. I have that power. It's just...
Oh no.
Excuse me, I have to go change my pants.
It's a good thing Clore rolled high in that con save. So if Penn is not even going to bother with starting the fire and instead just kind of curls up and goes to sleep as well, Bob, that leaves you. Is there anything you try to do? Theo's body is just still kind of there right now.
Okay, so
you're the only
I'm
one
looking-
kind of left awake at the moment.
Yeah.
I am seeing a Penn nodding off, seeing a Renningham kazooing into himself to sleep. Basically, my entire party has decided to go to sleep around me. Is that that's kind of correct, isn't it?
Yep. After you've multiple times reminded them, hey, we have something we should deal with over here. Could we figure out what we're doing with that first? And have been trying to figure that out. They've just continued to go to sleep. Yeah.
It looks like I'm on first watch.
Thank you for your service, Bob.
I mean, you could go to sleep too. You don't have to be first watch if you don't want to.
Oh yeah, that's always the story. No one told you had to go to do first watch until something bad happens, and it's like, why didn't you do first watch? No, we're not playing that game.
Sounds like Bob has some unresolved issues.
No, Bob's been caught in that trap one time too many.
Wow. Sounds unresolved.
Sounds unresolved.
Okay,
Bob's
so
secret backstory. Someone stole his socks. That's what happened when he didn't take first watch. Ties all
don't
together.
remind me of the socks now. We can get into some socks.
Just put some mushroom caps on your feet.
Those socks involve some raccoons. And I still got some words to have with those raccoons.
Grubby little hands.
God. Trash pandas, let me tell you.
While everybody else is busy snoring up a storm, I'm just going to sit there and contemplate the events of the day and got any reading to catch up on. Not like I have a copy of the Times, but just basically spend my next, we'll give them 7 hours, just waiting for the clock to tick down.
Okay.
Oh, long
So
watch.
You give yourself the lion's share of the watch. Roll me a perception check.
Okie dokie.
I know I've had quite a bit of those lately, but you know what? Just roll me a perception check.
Bam.
You're pretty damn good at those too, so
Well, this was not so awesome. It was only an 11.
that is true. The hours pass rather quietly. The one interesting thing you do notice is that the lichen on the ceiling, the colors kind of just continue to ripple naturally, like they've always just a little bit of a shimmer, kind of like an aurora borealis, kind of just barely doing a natural thing. Except instead of staying in the blue green, this has the occasional like kind of shimmer that's a little purpley. It's kind of pretty, and it reflects for a moment around the room, and then goes back to the greenish blue tinge that has become familiar these last few nights of sleeping in here.
Fascinating.
Yep.
It's an entirely new life form.
These 7 hours pass, and not a whole lot happens as you just kind of chill out there and sit comfy in the silty loam.
Okay. So in my brain, I'm thinking Penn is the healthiest and the least in need of a long rest. And go, hey, wake up.
What?
I went ahead and took first watch. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. It's your problem now.
Okay.
Okay. At which point I go to sleep.
Okay.
Because it's been a long, exhausting day.
10. How seriously do you take the fact that you've been just,
Voluntold.
nominated for second watch?
Pen doesn't mind because Bob's the one who did it.
Aw.
How cute. All right, so you get yourself comfortable. What are you doing during your relatively short watch? What are you occupying yourself with?
Chatting with Teller.
Okay. Teller seems to be a lot more awake now than he was earlier, just kind of like crawling all over you, doing his cute little squirrely things, just,
Yeah, we're
digging
catching
through your
up on what he
pockets.
saw and what I saw, and what he experienced, and what I experienced.
You pull out some of those chunks of mushroom, and you just kind of, you can see he's definitely been in your pockets. There's some little munch marks on some of the chunks of mushroom. Saw you eat them, assumed they were safe. And roll me a perception check.
Okay. $14.
Okay. You happen to see out of the corner of your eye something slightly interesting that you didn't notice when Bob first roused you for your watch. Around the edge of where Theo lies, 10, 15 feet from where the party kind of sits and rests for camp. You kind of see a faint white, blue and green glow. It's kind of a faint, just kind of around the edge. Kind of seems to go slightly underneath him. The white is in little spherical pockets, and then the edge kind of continues to glow faintly with that bluish green, not terribly dissimilar to the lichen that's on the walls and on the ceiling.
I want to investigate it.
Roll me an investigation check as you just kind of go through and
19.
okay. You almost immediately recognize the white, glowy, we're going to call them orbs, as the same sort of materials that you saw when Theo had kind of used his shovel to flip over some of the soil, and these had moved to kind of resettle things and re-merge things. These orbs have a very similar look and feel. They're just, look to them. They're just slightly larger than the ones that had resettled the soil. And you can kind of start to see hair-like tendrils of something probably fungal in nature are beginning to kind of attach themselves to the bottom of where Theo is lying. And those are emanating the very faint blue-green glow.
Nice. Pen watches
That's-
in fascination as the decay continues.
Okay. Yeah. What stands out is that they are starting with the what could be called fleshier areas first. Considering the state of poor Theo.
Wait a second. Where's do I have? I don't think that counts.
What are you gonna try to do?
I wanted to use a bottle to, well, put some of Theo in it, but also to get some of these fungus.
I do not see anything of that variety in your inventory at the moment.
I don't either.
But I can totally understand you wishing you did have something like that in this particular moment. Roll me an intelligence check. Just actually, better yet would be a nature check. Roll me a nature check. Which I think is, for you, probably just still a straight intelligence check. You rummage through your pockets.
And rummages through his pockets.
And find some pieces of mushroom that you've cut off that have some of the mushroom gills or the fins. And you remember that, this is where the spores of mushrooms tend to usually come from. So you already kind of sort of have a sample, if you were to be careful and diligent. Just don't eat all the mushroom.
Careful and diligent.
So you've already kind of got a little bit of this.
I could waste a potion and use a potion bottle, but since I already have a sample, I'm just not. I'll cultivate what I have. Actually, aren't the same mushrooms still around us because we're in the mushroom cave?
I mean, yeah, you're in the grotto still, so like the center still has the glowy mushrooms that heal, like repair themselves gradually as after you've cut them and everything.
Pen's just gonna take a couple more samples for his pockets.
Okay. You watch as the mushrooms can, in a similar way to before, they react to the slice, and you green one you cut has a yellowy glow on the inside, and a blue one you cut has a pinkish glow on the inside, and the purpley one has an orange glow, and they all just kind of have different glows from where you cut and what you cut. And they seal up.
Teller and tells Teller, "Yo, these ones aren't snack." He grabs a couple extra for his other pocket and explains to Teller, "These are snacks."
Teller just kind of stares at you with his big eyes, understanding, but just kind of like stares at you, almost in disbelief. So yeah, you notice that this has begun to happen to Theo, and then go and collect your samples, and then over the next hour or so, the rest of the party begins to rouse from their slumber.
Except for Bob, who is busy sleeping.
Yes, Bob's going to get at least 4 hours.
Well, he's going to get at least 8 hours. The heck with that. He's going for
Oh.
a long rest.
Okay,
Is
so if we
everyone
get
going
a...
for a long rest?
Is everyone going for a double long rest? Is that what we're looking at here?
I would imagine that's not necessary, but Chlor would definitely sleep until somebody woke him up, and if that was 16 hours, he would do it with 2 exhaustion points. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Renningham probably, when he wakes up and sees that both Bob and Chlor are still asleep, he's gonna walk up to Penn and go, "They sleep pretty hard, don't they?
Very.
Anything interesting happen while we were asleep?"
The fungus started decaying the body faster.
Ugh.
Kind of neat to watch. It's peaceful.
Doesn't it smell?
Not really.
How fast is it going?
Smells earthy.
Mm.
Rinningham, you're able to see the faint glow, the licheny colored glow with the little white orbs on the surface of the silty sand around and underneath, Theo's form.
Hmm. I'm gonna addressing the skull that's kind of in my pocket. I know it can hear me without being like held and addressed, but I'm just gonna say, "What's that about?" I'm saying that out loud, and not like both kind of telepathically, but also out loud.
Penn thinks that he's obviously asking for an explanation, and so Penn tries to come up with a pretty reasonable explanation of, well, they're fungus, and clearly we've known that they have, nocturnal or emanating glowing properties, and well, they're taking sustenance for them. So he tries to come up with this, like, it's a fungus that's deteriorating the thing to make food for itself, which is creating energy, which is making light.
For someone who is not very well versed in, quote, fungology, end quote, your 19 nature check, definitely, you have enough of a cursory understanding so that, like an explanation like that, decay, mushrooms, it's a thing. Like, the lichen is kind of a mushroom relative, and...
Well, I mean, Penn spend a lot of time around dead bodies in graveyards.
Right.
So you understand mold. So yeah, that's... Sam, visibly uncomfortable, like, why, Penn?
No,
So yeah,
but I
Renning...
mean, decomposition, trust me, I used to work as a coroner, I get it.
So yeah, Renningham, you get a explanation from Penn.
Do I get anything from the skull?
You continue to get that sense of it definitely listened.
Is it
Getting
a full
the silent treatment.
Okay. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
it's not like responding.
Penn's just gonna, like, he finishes explanation and there's just like silence and just between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Then Penn's just gonna out of nowhere like, do you remember that kid they thought we killed? Wonder what's happening with that.
I don't remember the kid they thought we killed. We killed a kid? Did you kill a kid?
It was a changeling. It pretended to be a kid. It wasn't.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even count that as a kid, really. Huh. Yeah, that, you've seen one changeling. You've seen them all. How do you know they're not all? How do you know they're not all? Hold on, no. What I'm going for is like, how do you know they're not all the same changeling? You know what I mean? It's like they can change. So how do
I
you know?
don't know if that's more or less racist against changelings.
It's just
No, no.
one changeling that runs really, really fast, so you think that
Please.
there's more than one of them.
Please finish that thought there, Renningham.
That was great.
You're asleep. You shut your mouth.
You have no power here.
Yeah.
A deep sigh comes from Clore over against the wall.
He just detects that something unsavory. Yeah, that makes sense.
Deep in his dreams, he feels that he must have some other reason to be disappointed in renting him at this moment.
Oh. I'm just saying they didn't seem like, yeah, they thought we killed a kid, but they didn't seem too beaten up about it once they found out it was a changeling.
No. Seem to be a little, well, if they actually bought it is a changeling, and hopefully they're not trying to make up excuses that it isn't.
That's one of those bridges we'll burn when we get to it.
Good idea. And we could go see your favorite captain again.
Oh, I don't think it's so much me seeing her as her seeing me.
That's true. She does have a thing for short guys.
For stature, short is.
You come up to her knee.
That's all part of my plan.
No, they're closer in height.
Are they?
Captain of the guard was a goblin.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was taller.
But she couldn't keep her.
I mean, she is still taller, but not
barely.
like.
Not
yeah,
really.
it's
Not a lot.
more like he's up to her chin as opposed to up to her knee. So
Oh, my bad.
yeah,
She still
My
wants
brain
to
had
go.
a much different height differential.
so
So yeah, we just wait another 8 hours.
just kind of chilling there, let Bob sleep.
I'm oiling my kazoo.
Oiling
That's
your
not-
kazoo.
That's not an. That's not.
That's a euphemism. It's
It's not-
100% a
it's
euphemism.
Not a euphemism.
Do I get a short rest out of this?
Yeah, I mean, so during a long rest, you can be awake for to do a watch for, up to half of it. So that's why it's usually good to have at least 2 people do a changeover, and you can still count as a long rest. So yes,
Can I
Pen,
carve
you've got your
runes?
long rest.
I want to carve runes into the skull.
And,
You have a
and
book
I'm
of
getting
runes?
2 long rests, is what you're telling me right now.
Effectively,
Hold on,
yes.
dog's
You're
barking.
okay. So Bob did the first 7 hours straight through. Didn't have to, but he did. Because he could have shared off with Penn, and they both could have gotten away with a single long rest, and life would have been fine. But
Whatever,
alas,
that makes sense. We don't do those things.
you are now into your second kind of 8-ish hour stretch. And in Renningham can kind of chill out, keep an eye on things, while Floor, you get what is effectively a second long rest almost in a row.
So it sounds like somebody's out of exhaustion.
Okay, now Bob's not really concerned with a double rest. He's just getting his full
Yeah.
night's rest. Yeah, okay. So it's not like
Yeah.
I'm putting. Yeah.
You only really need 4 hours of it, considering you were doing your watch, so that counts as half of your rest.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you can get a long rest while on watch, and so
That's true. That's true.
yeah. So you only need 4 hours. You don't need a full 8. But at that point, you've given Clore 12 hours. So, so what's another 4 hours?
Yeah, pretty much.
Now you guys will have been up for 8.
Killing.
Say that again.
I forgot that I can heal myself from killing people. Anyway.
The eyes on Bob,
Necromancy!
Really?
yeah, which I'm realizing none of the party has actually had a direct interaction with the fact that Penn is a necromancy wizard. They just know that Penn has magic.
No, we're just operating under the the whole guise of just really weird doctor.
Yeah, basically. And even Clore is like, we know he's probably a warlock because you know, Eldritch Blast, but that's about all you know about Clore and his interactions with, you know, the sources of his power. And up until recently, Renningham just had a had a kazoo. So,
I know, and now he's got a skull he's walking around talking to.
yep, very very Shakespearean. To be or not to be.
Kazoo or not kazoo?
Always kazoo, never not kazoo.
Always.
Never not
Yeah.
kazoo.
I get kazooed on my birthday. Fun fact.
The kazoo keeps playing while we, you know, the socks stay on.
Okay.
All right, so you guys are able to get your full rests, and specifically for the two of you notice, actually Bob now has an opportunity to notice, unless people tell him, or you know, or people can tell him. Over the course of the 8, now 12 hours, the tendrils are a little bit more prominent that have come out of the ground. The white glowy orbs have actually shrunk down in size and are more nestled underneath where Theo is. And you've noticed that where he was definitely laying on top of the silty sand before, it definitely looks like he's kind of gone down about half an inch into the soil.
Now, for what it's worth here, Clore just laid in one spot for 16 hours. Is that what we decided?
More or less, yeah.
Did it affect? Did he sink down? Is he or
He's bedroll. You're
so it knows the difference between dead and alive? Okay.
well, you're also in or / on a material that would prevent them from getting direct contact with
Separating.
you. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Hmm. Well, Bob, it looks like the decision for what to do with Theo was made for us.
And you know, I'm completely okay with that. I don't know about anybody else.
Well, Theo
Now, of
did
course-
seem like a family man. Maybe we should return the body or make plans.
You know, I understand that that's pretty much a consistent custom amongst, you know, most folks. But, you know, nobody said anything to me about it being a valued thing, although there did seem to be an awful strong attachment to the family. Maybe we should collect artifacts and set them aside and make it a trip back to return those to the family and just say, look, we couldn't bring the body.
That makes sense. Where's the shovel?
Good question. That is an important artifact. Where is the shovel?
Lost to time.
Oh my gosh.
It was distinctly dropped
We're
in
gonna
favor of pulling out the bow to try and
Like the giant worm.
yep.
Yeah.
So we don't know that. So as a party, I suspect that we're going to jump to the conclusion that the shovel got dropped wherever the death occurred, and we should probably go back there and retrieve the remnants of the shovel.
Definitely wouldn't be far.
I look at Clore. Clore's awake now.
Yes. Awake.
Was there anything else on his body? I'm not going back in the tunnel.
No.
Yeah, you were the last one to look at it. Well,
So
really.
there were no trinkets, no mementos on.
Not
Theo's
for
body.
not for my investigation check, which admittedly was not very high, but no, I checked his body and I found a hand axe. If you want that, here you go.
Well, I mean, if all we've got is a hand axe and a shovel, I'm sure the family would appreciate that.
Well, we don't have a shovel either, so
Well, we're gonna go get it.
I don't think we are.
Well,
Back
why
in the
not? It's not
tunnel
like
that's
it's
on
I don't-
fire?
I don't think anybody wants to go back in that tunnel that is.
The tunnel's still on fire?
particularly.
It's not still on fire.
It's not on
Did
fire
it burn
anymore.
itself out?
It's just a tunnel.
Well,
I mean, we
Now
can
it
look
is.
and we can look and see.
I think
right?
we should consider that.
Like turn the head. Is the tunnel on fire? Is it still on fire?
So, Bob, you didn't ever actually directly relay this. You had made it all the way back to the grotto before turning around and heading back to find Theo. And by the time you had found Theo, the tunnel had kind of sort of burnt itself out. There was still faint glowing from the holes, both in the ground and the walls and the ceiling.
You're right.
It was just
I
not,
never did.
and you never did relay that. You just managed to go in, come back unburnt. You know, no additional burns, just with Theo in Maw.
But also,
Well,
Bob would have realized in that moment that there was no shovel, so he could also relay that. So we don't need to go back and look for a shovel that Bob would.
I don't.
No, no.
Bob wasn't intentionally looking for the shovel at the time, so
Yeah, there was absolutely there was a stress situation. I was concerned with having my fur catch on fire, and my primary concern was finding Theo. I could have stepped on the shovel and wouldn't have known it.
Let's
Well,
let's
I
have this
think-
conversation, Bob. Do you know where Theo's from?
I do not.
Do you know where Theo's family is to give said shovel?
I do not.
So we will continue to the atrium and not go like you don't know. No one knows where Theo's from.
Well, I would
You
at
know where
least
Theo's
like
from?
to.
You were with him before we were.
I would like to at least procure these items so that if there's an opportunity, then we could return. And I'm really surprised. You would think that Theo would have something on his body other than a hand axe and a shovel. Are you sure you searched? Seems like there should be some coinage on there at least.
Excuse
Burn
me?
holes and.
Are you
I mean,
accusing,
it
are
could
you
have burned
accusing me
holes.
of something, Bob? Are you accusing
No,
me of
I'm-
something,
I'm
Bob?
just-
No.
I'm-
Go ahead, say it.
I'm just saying that.
Go ahead, say it. See that? That's my friend there. I've known Theo longer than any of you. Go ahead,
So
say
you
it.
know where
Go ahead,
where
Bob.
Theo's from.
I don't.
So I think here's a
So
compromise.
Theo had really bad friends.
the
None of
hand
us
axe,
were good friends.
the hand axe,
Lore.
and probably
Yes.
a piece of the body. So that like the
roll me some percentile dice real quick, Clore.
It's hard to imagine that Theo wouldn't have ranted on and on to Clore, his only
No,
buddy, about home.
That's-
Clore
that's-
Clore
that's
definitely
why
knows where
I'm-
Theo's from. Clore is trying to deceive said.
Okay.
Said,
Then
Oh, okay, all right. In
But
the
That's why I was
afterlife,
rolling-
wherever it is.
I was rolling the percentile dice just to double check. It was a very slim chance that Theo, in all of his storytelling, would tell you all the things about the place where he lived without actually telling you where he lived.
I would imagine when I ran into Theo in our pre-story, our pre-campaign story, that with context clues of Theo's stories, I know exactly where he's from.
Oh no, he definitely would have just plain out told you.
Yeah.
That's like the fire.
take a
side
left at the
conversation.
big tree.
And I know about the family that he's saving money
know-
for, and all
You
of
know about the
things.
family. You know about the whole thing. You know
Yeah.
about
And
Dad's
Clore
shovel and the
is
leather armor and
just-
everything.
But
Okay.
here's my thing:
That's Clore's choice.
does
It
Does
is Clore's
Bob
It's
also
choice.
Clore's choice.
yeah?
Yes,
does Bob also have
absolutely.
to roll an insight check? Cause he, I'm just
Okay,
weird things.
I think that in all fairness, I think that we should roll an intelligence check for Bob, simply because when you're out doing anything, I mean, I can't even leave the house without two sets of keys, a wallet, at least one knife, a cell phone. And I'm pretty sure if you're going in the woods, you're going to be carrying more than a shovel and an axe.
Oh, Bob.
Perhaps we should do an intelligence check to see if this thought dawns on Bob. Does that sound fair?
All right, that's roll an intelligence check with advantage.
And I think Clore would very respectfully look at Bob and say, "The body's still here. Just check yourself."
Okay, there's 13.
I love this drama. I'm living for it. It's delightful.
I'm
That's a
just-
19. Now,
I got a
also, I think
6.
that when we do this, we should
got a
also reflect
6.
back on anything that
It's gonna
Bob
investigate the
saw
body.
Theo using that was outside of a hand axe or a shovel.
Okay, so you know
Wait, did you
that
just roll
Theo-
with advantage?
That
I
was
gave
with
him advantage on it.
Okay.
Why, Clore? What do you?
No, I didn't hear you say that. I was just like, I saw
Oh.
the 13 and I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, I gave him advantage. So you think back to your interactions, and what actually stands out to you is the fact that Theo did act very light. Theo
Okay.
had his armor, he had his clothes that he wore underneath his armor. His pack had just enough equipment to get him by travel-wise, some rations. All of that is basically strewn around his body right now. Hand axe, shovel, a bow and arrows, which isn't surprising that it's not in a
Right.
possessible condition. You know that he had a bracelet from the captain of the guard. And you also know that he
That was a
had
magical
been
bracelet too, wasn't it?
it shrunk down and came skin tight as soon as you put it on.
Yeah. So that bracelet, it's going to survive whatever. Okay.
And then you also know that he was given some form of booklet and pendant, or marker, dog tag style, from joining the Adventurers Guild. However, you also know that particular piece of material is made of wood.
Okay. At that point, I'm going to be thinking, all right, we should at least find this this bracelet and return it to the authorities that gave them to us, just as evidence that
He dead
one of our party is dead.
or gone? We could just say he's gone permanently.
Considering that the
all-
bracelet should be on the corpse like 6 feet away, can't be that hard to retrieve.
Then retrieve it.
All right.
Roll
Why
an
am I
investigation
responsible?
check.
Do what now?
Investigation check.
Investigation.
How?
So you
so
look like you're
like,
suffering.
like mechanically speaking,
Hmm?
how would a failed investigation check work on a
I can't
wrist
find the wrist of
that's
the.
laying there? I will fight you if you are going to sit there and tell me that you can't find the arm of a prone humanoid
He's gonna have to
creature.
ask for help.
I feel like
It's
mechanically
less
more
about-
reason, like it's not there.
It's less about
Exactly.
whether or not he can find the wrist. It's more about whether or not he can get to the bracelet on said wrist carefully enough without, let's just say, needlessly disrespecting the corpse.
Why
That was
not?
And
what I was
So then it's
immediately
not an
Disrespect it.
investigation; it's like a
It's
sleight of
dead.
hand or like
You
a.
don't-
Unfortunately,
Life is
Unfortunate-
on it, not in it.
Theo's body had been kind of curled up to brace against the heat. That was kind of just wasn't very, oblong. He's not full on fetal position, but not far, like slightly curled up, arms kind of up. And you do find the way that, you set him down laying. You do find the bracelet is actually on the arm that's now laying and starting to sink into the soil. And you can see the faint bronze-like shimmer on the wrist area. Now, it hasn't fully reformed to the same size as what went on before it shrunk down. It's definitely larger than his wrist, but not enough that you can easily get it off the hand.
We'll retrieve it and the axe and just throw it in with the pack. And if I'm going to run by the local guild and let them know what has happened and see what information they've got and see if maybe they know on or have on record Theo's home place of residence, their emergency contact. Who do they have listed as their emergency contact?
At the very least,
Okay.
maybe they'll just put it in a box.
Yeah,
We were
Oh.
we were with Theo when he signed up for the guild. We know. Never
Yeah, that didn't mean I was paying attention.
Okay.
Actually,
are his
you
emergency
you all were outside doing your own thing while Theo went in. None of you went in with Theo.
See, I wasn't paying attention.
Penn went and wandered around. Renningham was outside still, frustrated about his torn pants.
Socks.
Bob was on the lookout for
Times.
socks. Like, you all kind of split up and went your own directions for a hot minute while running errands. And this was one of Theo's errands, was to join the Adventurers Guild. So no, you were not actually in there to know what all was involved in that process.
Yeah, I just
however,
check, see-
Bob, you do have to deftly, quietly break some things in order to retrieve the bracelet.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's not like Theo's going to complain. It'll be okay.
And you
So
do,
we're
you
in the
retrieve it.
afterlife.
And it's still, like, they were originally, like, perfectly round circlets. And this is, like, slightly still wrist-shaped. It's just, wider than Theo's wrist is currently, for obvious reasons. And so you retrieve that. You retrieve what other, you have the axe. It's up to you if you decide to go back for the shovel. And there's not much else.
The shovel was a prized possession, so it's on my list, but obviously I'm the only one who cares, so it's just on my list.
Okay.
But on that note, I'm going to say we're at a decent stopping point for tonight, seeing as it is, midnight Eastern time.
Eee.
You have all rested. You have recovered your points of exhaustion. I don't think anyone has any ability score damage at this point. You should have all recovered from all that at this, by now. Yeah, you guys are
We're poised.
strangely enough, poised to start the next day and figure out where to go from here. And we'll try to do that next week, I guess. So
Yeah.
We'll
fingers
try.
crossed we'll all be all set to do that. And I'm excited to see where all this all goes. And we'll
What's the
let
term?
Theo return to nature
Edging.
as you do.
As he would have wanted.
So, thank you guys so much for playing. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hopefully will be streaming some Dwarf Fortress on Friday. And
Steam version, right?
yeah, I'm still getting used to it though. Not all my reflexes from the old version of the game are the old habits die hard. When you play a game one way for 10 years and then you have to switch it up because they've changed it. Oh lordy, that takes some getting used to. So I'm slowly getting the hang of it. So yeah, we'll be resuming that on Friday, and then playing something on Sunday, and then we'll be back for D&D hopefully next Tuesday. So I guess that's all we got. See you guys. See you guys next. Oh, see you guys. Yeah, bye. See you guys next time. Okay. Okay. Bye. Bye. Bye now. Bye. Bye. Oh my God, my jokes are killing me. Oh.